Good morning, day, night, evening, afternoon, guys. Welcome to a developer stream with Zantai. So today, I've prepared a character, oh well, not really prepared, but it is an older character, and we are gonna take a look at the new Fangs of Asterkarn content, or at least part of it,
You're back
here on stream in the new Ascendant mode. Zantai is gonna answer you guys' questions in the chat. Meanwhile, I will be streaming for you the gameplay. So
I'm just gonna get this restreamed on our channel over here for those that are watching. So for those that don't know me, which is probably most of you, I'm Kamil Marcheski. I am the production director at Create Entertainment, known as Zantai on the internet. So you've probably had your build nerfed. It was probably my fault, so sorry about that. But today you can barrage me with your questions and I'll do my best to answer them for you guys while Wrecked by Protoss is doing all the hard work of actually playing the game and not getting killed on camera. But let me get that stream fixed.
I'll try my best.
On our channel.
The character is softcore after all.
Good, you're back.
40 years book.
Oh yeah, should we merge the Twitch chats still? I think that would be
for some reason on our channel it's showing the full Twitch UI, which is dumb. Not sure why. Like I have it set to the right URL. Sorry for the people that are watching on our channel that it looks so jank right now. Not sure why.
Okay, I think for the YouTube
theater mode didn't actually update in OBS for some reason.
I've been expecting you, human.
What if I just change it to display my screen? And you guys will see yourselves chatting for a second.
Okay, I also sent you an invite to merge the Twitch chats basically. That should hopefully make things a little bit easier for you to also answer all the questions.
Oh, that's all right. I've got them both up at this point.
Okay, you got all of them both up. Okay, all right. You got the YouTube chat up as well, or should I forward you the YouTube questions?
Oh, there's a YouTube chat too. Jeez.
yeah. I mean, just like last time. Like, for example, there's the first question coming in from Spraynerb on YouTube. So does Ascendant mode unlock when you defeat Logorian for the first time, just like Elite and Ultimate?
So Ascendant mode is available for all characters regardless of what content you've cleared. You just have to reach level 100 and unlock Ultimate difficulty. So if you beat Logorian, unlock Ultimate, but you're not level 100 yet, you will not be able to switch to it immediately. You'll actually have to level up first. That is mostly for tuning purposes, so you're not getting immediately wrecked. This restream looks so jank. I'm sorry, guys. I thought this would be a lot more straightforward, even though I thought I had it all set up on Sunday.
Okay, quick audio check. We got some music, like in-game music at least. So I think everything should be good. I'm playing a sorceress, and with one small change compared to last time, as you can see, the Ulzuin's Chosen Grenado modifier and also Canister modifier gives you now more charges, which is one of the new features coming with Fangs of Asterkarn as well. Starting out with a new feature right away.
On your stream too. I'm just a box.
Oh, you're just a box now? Wait, what? Oh, there you go. Now you're back.
We're professionals, guys. There I am.
Is the MySpace chat merged? Oof. Thankfully we're not streaming there as well.
How old do you think I am? Actually, that would actually be an accurate depiction of my age. I am from that generation.
Alright, so over here in Fort Icon, I'm I believe right now it is set up, and I think it's going to be the same for release. You can enter the Fangs of Asterkarn expansion the second you reach Fort Icon. You do not even have to defeat the Logorian. You can just talk to Scout Evans over here in Fort Icon.
Apologies for the interruption, but I understand you are the one responsible for scattering the cult's forces in Darkvale Gate?
That would be me.
My apologies. I know the esteemed Inquisitor has you assigned to priority.
I think that looks good
matters,
enough on the.
but it would seem that when
Grim Dawn
disaster
side. Audio's
strikes,
gone.
it rears many heads.
The audio on your end or my end?
On my end is gone, I guess. Hold on. I think I can fix that at least.
Alright, what's the situation in Asterkarn?
Just a few days ago, I and the rest
I'm
of
just
my
letting
troop
the
were dispatched to the northwest on what should
voice
have been a
acting
routine
play for now
scavenger
from Scout Evans,
And for
just so you know
me,
where we're
it
at.
largely was. A few beast sightings, but nothing of concern. However, my companions never returned from their
Oh, I
runs.
know why the audio's gone.
The frozen reaches of Asterkarn are home to all manner of creatures. But
Like I said,
suspect it is
professional.
not them we are contending with. Asterkarn is also home to the Kern, our ancient enemies.
The audio
I have
back,
little
guys.
doubt that they are behind these disappearances. The Inquisitor cannot spare additional troops, but a
I don't even care
agent
about the way it
of
has no
your
sound, just
caliber
release it
might
early.
succeed. I beg you, venture northwest from Fort Icon and into the frigid north of the Frostvale Highlands. Learn the fate of our missing brothers and sisters.
I will find the missing scouts. Let us accept this quest to venture into the Asterkarn Highlands, Frostvale Highlands rather, and see if we can find the ancient evil, the ancient enemy, the Kern. Alright, I think I'm gonna lower the in-game music a little bit, as the voices aren't necessarily always the very loudest. Alright, maybe just a bit. There we go. Maybe I
Alright,
can.
audio's back.
Okay,
Let's
I'll
take a
just
look at that
run
map now.
through the first map, and you can catch up on the questions maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna catch up with chat now, guys, and then I'm done with all the technical difficulties that totally were fine yesterday, as everything always goes when you're trying to stream something the next day. I get the most important question answered first. Are the expansions worth it? Well, I'd like to think so. From what I'm hearing from the people that have already played it, it's, I think, pretty good. He told us many years ago that having multiple affixes on Elite wasn't possible. To compensate, will there be encounters with multiple Elite packs in Ultimate, or maybe specifically in Ascendant mode to have more challenge and fun, maybe? So I guess that my counter question would be, what do you mean by Elite packs? Like hero packs? We do actually have like all sorts of new hero monsters that are being added in this expansion. So like regardless of which difficulty you're playing on, there will actually be all sorts of new monsters throughout the game. When are we going to hire Rek so he'll be safe from the heat? Well, I can't actually get him moved out here, even if we hired him, so that might be a challenge.
I can always sleep in Ground Zero's basement down in North Carolina. That's what he told me at least.
Yeah. Are you going to go through the entire FOA area and questline? We would have to be playing for a pretty long time to honestly get through the new FOA content. Like, no joke when we were saying that this area is like 33% the size of the base game plus expansions. Like, it's huge. It's gonna, even if you're trying to rush through this content, it's gonna take you a while. So there's just no way, even if I gave him permission to play through everything today for you guys, like, he would not be able to unless he streamed like all day. How much remains a mystery for the expansion? Are there any of these mystery impactful things? Have we been spoiled? I mean, we were gonna try to keep this stream pretty spoiler-free, I would say. Like even if he gets all the way to Kernholz today, I would say there's quite a bit of content left to see, including some things that, you know, might be for you to discover on your own. How long is the FOA quest line? I would say it's on par with past main quest lines. However, there's a ton of side quests, a ton of stuff to discover that's not even actually officially a quest, but you know, still out there for you to experience. This expansion, I think, has more secrets than we've ever done before. So there's that.
Yeah, I would maybe dare to say the part up to Kernhole is maybe, what is it, 20-25% of the whole expansion, if at all. Maybe it's even less.
Yeah,
honestly.
probably 25%, I would say, in terms of just like the land mass. In
Yeah.
terms of content, maybe even a little less.
Yeah, I would say so.
What's
Like
the canon
after-
way to experience? No, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, I think like after Kernhole, the density of quests and secret and so on like skyrockets compared to like pre-Kernhole. So
Yeah,
I'm also
for
not
sure.
gonna basically try to show any secrets here in the pre-Kernhole areas as well. So I'm gonna somewhat clear the maps, but stick to the main quest lines or like the main side quest as well, and anything that's like secret related or like secret paths or chests and so on, I'm gonna refrain of showing that, so that you guys, whenever the expansion is out, will have the pleasure of trying to find them out for yourselves.
What's the canon way to experience Asterkarn when we get to Fort Icon or after both current expansions? So in terms of like the chronological order of events, we are saying that Fangs of Asterkarn takes place after Ashes, but before Forgotten Gods. In terms of when you can hit it up gameplay-wise, you can actually get there as soon as you get to Fort Icon and fight the Logorian. So it's kind of up to you, like, you know, when you want to hit up which content. Kind of like Forgotten Gods was chronologically the last content, but in terms of gameplay, you could jump into it right after Act 1. Do we have to clear the map again in Ascendant mode, or does it work more like Veteran mode? It works like Veteran mode. It applies on top of Ultimate difficulty, so any content you've done in Ultimate is essentially cleared on Ascendant. So if you want to, you know, take things up a notch towards the end of your Ultimate clear through and switch to Ascendant then, like you totally can, or you can, you know, jump back and forth depending on what you're feeling like doing at the time. Can use characters from the playtest in the new 1.3 without problems. Yes, so if you've been playing in our playtest that's up right now, it'll just be seamless transition for you. You can just jump right into what will go live when 1.3 goes, you know, live alongside the expansion, and you'll be all set. Are we going to get more support packs with even crazier skins? We are actually working on Loyalist Pack 4. One of our artists has been working on the new sets, and they're awesome. So I look forward to announcing those to you guys, you know, probably soon after we get the expansion out. So yeah, there'll be a Loyalist Pack 4 for those of you that want to keep supporting Crate. We definitely do appreciate it, and we hope that the skins that we're putting in there are worth your money. Yeah, unfortunately, if you're reading us on the Crate channel, there is going to be a little bit of a delay between what's happening on screen and what you might be hearing me respond to, because I'm basically restreaming it, so there's, you know, the standard Twitch lag. If you do want to, like, you know, everything to be perfectly timed, you can actually switch to the Wrecked by Protoss channel and, you know, probably get a slightly better experience.
Will there be a video of the stream uploaded to YouTube to watch later? Yes, both on my channel as well as on the official Crate channel.
Yep, there will be a VOD up if you can make it, or you need to watch some kind of football game that I'm hearing about that's happening at the same time. You can definitely jump over there, and it'll be up on YouTube later for you guys to enjoy. Expansion pack is ridiculously cheap considering how much content it has. Well, thank you. I hope you guys appreciate that too, and, you know, spread the word. The more people pick up the expansion, obviously, the more resources we'll have to keep making good stuff for you down the line. We kind of felt like, you know, there's not much of a gain for us to price it ridiculously high when we want, you know, as many people as possible to enjoy this, as many people as possible to see, like, the Kern and, you know, eventually what will be our RTS game. That was kind of partially why we ended up making this expansion in the first place, was so we could introduce this other faction of people that we've kind of hinted at before in the game, but never officially, like, shown or even put in by name. And so that will kind of plant the seeds of the story that you'll be seeing in our RTS game, you know, in a year or two, I would say. Will Ascension Altars influence the new rare item FX reroll features on Inventor, for example, with Altars more FX drop, give a higher chance for FXs to reroll on rare items. So that will not influence the reroll system. Those are independent of each other. In fact, when you do the reroll system, it strips any sort of affix weight from the equation. So even if the item baseline had a more likely chance of getting fire affixes, that's not going to be the case when you're rerolling. Has there been changes to the constellation system? Nothing fundamental. That anything that you see change to the devotion system is done through patches. So V1.3 has more tuning as usual, and so that can apply to all versions of the game, whether you bought the expansion or not.
UE5. No, Crate is doing their own engine for the RTS as well as potentially Grim Dawn 2 after that. Or rather, you have already finished your engine.
Yeah, so our new proprietary engine is actually in use right now. It is being used to develop the RTS. That's coming along pretty well. We're actually getting more and more units in there. Like now that the animation team's kind of moved off of Grim Dawn, like they're starting to work on all those units that are going to be in the RTS. And yeah, so that's our own engine built in house. It's currently built specifically for RTS, but we're going to keep expanding the technology in that engine so we can eventually build Grim Dawn 2 on it. We do have a game that's in development that's on Unreal Engine. That's our survival game, which we're not quite ready to talk about yet, but hopefully pretty soon.
All right, we're having a conversation with Thane South-Hinterland real quick here.
I've been expecting you, human.
Okay, has like rather... I mean, for most of the voice acting, it's pretty much in the classic Grim Dawn fashion, as in you have the main NPCs having everything voice acted, and then the side quest NPCs having like a couple of lines they have voice acted, and the rest is for you to read if you care to read. Let's say it like that, right?
Yep. So we've kind of, for consistency's sake, we've maintained the way we've done it for the first game and expansions. We do actually have more voiceovers in this expansion than I think we've done before. Kind of, more of everything in this expansion, basically. But yes, for side NPCs, we did just focus on the intro lines, just like before. Will the expansion add more skills to already existing masteries? It will not. Whatever you've got in your current masteries is basically only going to be changed via patches. So any balance stuff that gets done affects all versions of the game.
Please, just leave us alone.
We try to get those last 2 plushies out again. Unfortunately not. If you missed out on getting Gazerman and our little Devourer, those were limited time campaigns that Makeship did, and I think they might have some sort of petition system where you can request things to come back, but I think that'll be pretty much the only way that happens. However, we will be working with Makeship very soon, basically right after these expansion ships, to get you some pins. So if you're a fan of Crate and want to show it on your bag or lanyard or wherever you're going, you'll have an opportunity to do so. And hopefully that campaign is a success, because I really like those pins. I've got the prototypes, of course. So don't make me be the only person in the world that has those. Let's get that campaign funded.
When are we getting the Scorv body pillow?
Scorv body pillow? I mean, I feel like we'd have to have a petition to make sure it was a success. What are the reasons that epic items still exist in Grim Dawn? They don't have skill modifiers, nor are they powerful enough to compete with rare items generally. What is supposed to place for them in the game? What do you want them to be? Well, that's actually kind of leads into a feature of this expansion, because, like you said, it doesn't really feel like there is a place for epic items in the game currently. They're kind of this intermediate step between like a monster frequency you might have found while leveling and the legendary items you'll be getting when you're max level, and then they kind of just fall off and disappear. And there's hundreds of items with great art that are just sitting in your storage or just getting demolished for materials. And so one of the new systems we have in Fangs of Asterkarn is awakening epic items, which is going to upgrade existing epics to legendary quality, which means they'll have higher stats and they'll have skill modifiers and or skill procs. And for the initial batch, we're looking at something about, I think, 96 epic items that are going to get elevated to this awakened status. And over time, with additional patches, which we'll be doing post-release, the goal is to get more and more of those epic items upgraded to legendary and give them a second lease on life, essentially. Like, the ideal scenario would be that over, multiple patches, we'll actually get all of the epic items awakened. Whether we get to that, we'll see. But, the potential is there.
How many awakened epics do you have now, ish?
So I think right now we're looking at about 96 for the base game, or sorry, for the expansion's release, and then with each patch we'll see how many we get through. Have you thought about releasing a Blender plugin to support the modding community? That goes beyond my area of expertise, and I think you have to bring that up on the forum and see what our artists think. I don't know how feasible that is, because we are using an old version of Maya, or sorry, old version of Max to even get the models into Grim Dawn. So I'm not sure what that would entail.
I'm just gonna pop up the release date and the price real quick on stream again, because people keep asking for that every now and then as well.
Is good. Alright, let me catch up with chat on the other side now. What happens after Fangs of Asterkarn? More free updates, another expansion. Not ready to talk about that. So what I can tell you, right off the bat, is that we are planning 2 new roguelike dungeons that will be added post-release. Probably, I would say, within a year of the expansion coming out. So one probably by the end of 2026, and the next one middle of 2027. And besides that, we've got some more item sets planned. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're going to awaken more epic items, and who knows what else we might have in store for you in patches. In terms of expansions, though, I am firmly planting my foot here on the record. There will not be a 4th expansion for Grim Dawn. Sorry to those that might be disappointed, but I am 100% sure. Before, when we shipped Fangs of Forgotten Gods, and we're yeah, 95% sure we're not doing another expansion. Turns out that 5%, in Diablo 2, when you have 5% chance to miss, that was our 5% chance to hit. And this expansion happened. But I can say confidently that we are now going to work on a 4th expansion. So sorry.
Just got ambushed by the void.
Oh. So yeah, you just open up a chest and hit a void mark.
Yeah. It was just a innocent, tiny little rock even.
Nice. So that's actually one of the mechanics in Ascendant mode, borrowed from the Community League, which Rect works on. When you open a chest in Ascendant mode, it has a chance to pop out some void invaders and attack you. And if you kill them, you will get some useful materials for the new systems. But yeah, sorry guys, no 4th expansion. What I really want to do at this point, and honestly the team does as well, is to get our next couple games out and really start thinking about Grim Dawn 2. And if we're just constantly coming back to this engine, trying to squeeze as much as we can out of it, I think there's a point where it just gets too difficult to even get anything else in. This 10th mastery, to get it into existing itemization was a challenge. There's some items that just have way too many things going on them now, and I don't want to push that any further.
I mean, with the way the dual mastery system works in games like Grim Dawn or Titan Quest, if you add 1 mastery at this point, it's basically you're adding 10 classes to the game, not just
right. So with Berserker, that was 10 new mastery combinations. If we add an 11th mastery, that's going to be 11 more, and so that just gets crazy. And I think at this point, some items have bonuses to 6 different skills in some cases, and that's just difficult to parse at some point. I would say that some items are already kind of ridiculous. Would it be possible that a new Kaiman Death's Vigil traders or something to Bloodgrove Darkvale so you can farm the monster frequency of the faction you're allied to? IMO is a bit too unintuitive at the moment because you're, for example, locked out of Necromancer's themed demise if you're decided to class into Necromancer before choosing Kaimans. I know the Bloodgrove vendor sells some of them, but vendor shopping is a bit lame. So I hear you, and I understand that some people don't like that. That was kind of for us, kind of touching into the fact that we want you to try multiple characters and try different paths and experience the different storylines. And, since everything can be shared between characters, that was kind of our motivation for setting it up that way. So we don't have plans to change that. Asking about the meta shake and more precise about 2-hand ranged attack builds. Why 2-hand range sucks compared to games like PoE and PoE 2? Well, apparently our melee is better than PoE and PoE 2, so we've got to have our balance. I mean, we're always up for making balance changes to make the game better. We actually made quite a few changes in patch 1.3 to add new weapon pool skills for ranged and shields, that will hopefully close that gap a little bit for you. So definitely give things a go in 1.3. Let us know what's working, what isn't, and we're always happy to make changes. We are watching the feedback forum more than you might think. Wait, you're making RTS? Yeah, we are. I think it might even be called Warlords of Cairn.
Wait, what? Warlords
I mean,
of
that's not a
Cairn?
that's not. I mean, it's not a final title, but I bet it'll stick. That's how these things often go.
Oh shit. Alright, we found
Maybe
Aiden here.
maybe me putting it on stream will actually make it official, because then Madeira will have no
I mean,
choice.
now it's basically official, yeah, at this point.
It's on the record, guys.
Alright, here we got
Not a
Aiden in
game
the
question.
Frostwade
Sorry?
Highlands, sorry. No, sorry, just
Another NPC. Gotcha.
found a new NPC here. But she's like a side quest NPC,
Yeah, this is one of
so
the side quests.
she isn't gonna like block the audio that much. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Maybe not a game question. How do you feel about PoE 1 new league release right after release of this expansion? It'll buy the expansion for sure, though. I think I actually tweeted about this. Just like, meh. I mean, I have a feeling they weren't paying attention to what else was releasing at the time. It's not like they're gonna maliciously try to undermine us. And honestly, the crossover between our two communities is pretty high. And what's ultimately probably going to happen is that some people are going to check out Fangs of Asterkarn first, some people are going to check out the new season first, and then they're going to get bored of one or the other, and then they're going to check out the other one. And that happens all the time between our two games. Like with each PoE season or like Grim Dawn expansions or patches, like people just jump in, they have their fun, then they check out the other thing, because people that are fans of ARPGs tend to play more than one, honestly. So doesn't bother us all that much. Does it unfortunate? Sure, it's going to split the people's attention for a bit, but I don't think it's ultimately going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, unless you're playing the community season in Grim Dawn, you're not missing. There's no like FOMO in Grim Dawn at all. Right? The game is only gonna keep improving, and the content is gonna stay there. Your characters are gonna stay there. There's nothing to
Yeah, like Grim
really
Dawn's
worry
not
about.
going anywhere. It's not like there's any FOMO here, so you can always just jump in whenever you're ready. Whether it means on day one or like a week or two after you've checked out the PoE season. What is the support and future dev looking for Crate after FOA release? I think I touched on that a little bit already. Like, we've got 2 more games in development. We are eager to start really like thinking hard about what we want to do with Grim Dawn 2, because that is going to happen at some point. It has to, right? Will we hear more about Hagaron, the friendly ethereal NPC that we can meet in the Fleshworks? So not in this expansion. This is a storyline that we would touch upon in a sequel. A year or two. I'm saying there's enough time to buy a single stick of RAM? Maybe. I mean, I'm hearing the prices are going to go up 50% again. Can we talk about the
Even
graphics
more? Oh my
updates we
God.
made? Yeah, right. In terms of graphics updates, like, as always, we're always trying to find ways to improve the game where we can visually. It's not something that we go back and just completely overhaul the whole base game, but there are monsters that were had their models overdone, like completely redone, like Drangools. Since we are putting them in Fangs of Asterkarn, we also updated the base game ones. So those are little touches that we just bring back into the old content as well. In terms of other stuff, like Fangs of Asterkarn does push the envelope quite a bit visually, because we have like new shaders, especially for like the ice and snow, that did not exist in the base game. So that's kind of the big stuff. And just models tend to look a little more high fidelity. The items are looking a little better. Like, it's just, we're constantly just pushing ourselves to make stuff look better and better. It does tend to make the older content look older by comparison, but to completely redo everything at this point is a massive undertaking.
Alright, so we've just encountered Kubacabra here in the Frostwade Highlands, and as you might have noticed now in Ascendant mode, not only does he drop his monster frequent, the pants, but also upon opening his chest, you will get a couple other monster frequents from basically anywhere in the game, and this is a new change to the Ascendant mode as well when it comes to how loot is distributed to the player.
So similarly to how when you're farming the Shadow Realm or Crucible, where you might get stuff from everywhere, we kind of took a similar approach with Ascendant Loot, where any like big chest that you open up will have a chance to just drop monster frequencies from all over. So just kind of even the playing field between, you know, if you want to just focus on campaign content versus Shattered Realm or Crucible content, like you get a similar experience where you might just get a surprise monster infrequent that you weren't planning for, but is going to be good for one of your builds or even one of your ults. Have I played Diablo 4? If yes, what do I think about it? I've played Diablo 4, I've played its expansions. I think they've had some good content, some mech content, but that's how games go. I think it definitely has a place in the ARPG, you know, genre. There are people that are really enjoying it, and people that think it's too shallow for them, and that's fine. Like kind of like Grim Dawn's not for everybody, Diablo 4 is not going to be for everybody. In the past, you've spoken proudly of technical difficulties and achievements to build in features like devotion systems, spin to win, shapeshifting, etc. All these available in Grim Dawn 2 or Day 1. I think it's a little too early to talk about that, unfortunately. Will some form of devotion system carry forward to to a sequel? Probably. Will it look the same as the current one? I think it's too early to say. When do we hire again? I don't know. Like right now, we're a team that's pretty good size for the amount of projects we have going. So I'm not sure we're currently hiring. I don't think our hiring page is up at the moment. In the future, we'll see whether we're looking to grow the team or not. It'll kind of depend on, you know, what we need to get things out.
Yeah, if you want to be an unpaid intern, you can just become a playtester instead, right?
Hey, we do offer keys. That's like
true.
that's like $15 for hours of work. And we pre-order, and will there be any pre-order goodies? We don't do pre-orders. You can wishlist. Please do if you haven't already, so you know you'll know exactly when the expansion is out. But no, we haven't done pre-orders, and we're not about to start. We're not that interested. A, in making stuff just to kind of entice you to pick it up early, and B, like, why create this FOMO for a game that is basically anti-FOMO? It doesn't give us really anything for you to buy it sooner. Like we don't have, you know, quarterly earnings with our investors or publisher where we have to be like, look at all the money we're making off of copies like in this quarter. Like, it doesn't matter for us. So we have no incentive to try to make you pre-order.
All right, we made it up to.
What was the reason for us to never
Sorry.
do full voice acting? Would it be possible to add it years later? It would be. It would be incredibly expensive at this point to, you know, do it retroactively. But that was kind of the initial reason, was that, you know, when we started out, we were a small company with not many resources, and we were very efficient about how we distributed everything.
All right, up to Ulfgarn, son of Garn. That is also an interesting chain of
But that is
naming.
the main request NPC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic, Lowlander. But that was an impressive feat. I'd have thought your death screams would echo in the peaks, but
I'm pretty sure you've gotten this feedback quite a bit from playtesters already, but I will have to point it out once again here that I think most of the voices are unfortunately still a little quiet, also like much more quieter than in the base game.
We did
least
actually
this
increase them recently, so you still think they're too quiet?
I think some of them are. I mean, this guy, for example, I have pretty much everything else like set to half the volume, and the voices are cranked to the max.
Okay. Well, if you want to make a list that you think are too quiet, I mean, I'll mention Ulfgarn to our sound guy, and maybe we can bump him up a little more.
Sounds like a job for an unpaid
Surprised that
intern, right?
I don't think it'll take an unpaid intern for this one. I mean, it won't take him that long to just bump up the levels just a little bit. But yeah, I think he like literally compared voices side by side just to like see the volume levels, and it seemed like it was about the same as previous stuff. So it is weird that that's still an issue.
I think the first Black
That
Legion
plushie
scout, the first Black Legion scout where you start Fangs of Asterkarn content was kind of fine, and then the current people here are getting like more and more quiet. At least up to Ulfgarn so far.
When can you buy the DLC? July 23rd. If you're looking to get it on Xbox, it'll probably be a few weeks later. So I think like mid-August. But it is going to happen if you're playing on Xbox. Any chance for 200 range attacks to get more love, feels slower than any builds that use SS and the damage isn't there. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, maybe you didn't hear me answer that question, or maybe I'm just catching up with chat. We do have some new stuff for 200 range in patch 1.3 that should hopefully give your build a bump.
Ulfgard, the mumbling son of Garn, yeah. That sounds like that.
They're looking forward to Awaken epic items, hell yeah!
Kernhold will be impossible to miss. Once there, present my sigil to the guards and ask to speak to the High Chieftain.
Yup, it's only $18.99. What were we thinking? The release date is not changing despite a certain other game having their season right after. We're not going to postpone it for you guys, and we're definitely not doing it sooner. Sorry. Will Grim Tools be updated close to the expansion drop? Yep, I've already talked to Dammit, who's the guy that runs Grim Tools, and he will get that stuff up for you about a week ahead of the release. So if you really want to start looking at all the hot new items that you'll be able to acquire, that's when you'll be able to start searching. Man, I need to speed up these answers. I'm not keeping up with the chat at all. Will the new DLC raise the level cap? It will not. So things will stay at level 100. However, there's new systems to up your power level. There is the ascending of items, which, by the way, for those that, well, I mean, I guess you guys really wouldn't know because we haven't talked about it on the forums. We did do a preview of the item ascension system on our website months ago. It has actually been changed quite significantly from that, and ascending items is actually now going to apply to every item in the game. You'll be able to ascend epics, you'll be able to ascend legendaries, you'll be able to ascend monster and frequents, and you will be able to apply powerful new bonuses onto them. So essentially it's like a whole new layer of item customization that you'll be getting on top of existing gear. Not just white item.
I don't think I can show it on this character because it would require me to do a certain quest that is post-Kernhold, but I can maybe like jump on another character later on that has it unlocked already, and then I can show it.
So maybe you could jump on towards the end and show like an example of how it works. Why not? But yeah, I don't think you'll get to it just running this character through.
No.
When is the RTS coming out? It's years away at this point. Early access, like I said, might start in a year or two. Is the 4th expansion coming before or after the RTS? It's not! There's no 4th expansion. You have to finish campaign in Ascended mode. Is it like veteran for first difficulty? Yeah, so it's like veteran mode for ultimate. You can just hop between it as you wish.
Yeah, I mean, content-wise, it's a bit more than just veteran, of course. It's a lot more.
Yeah, it's so well, veteran just kind of bumps the numbers up. Like Ascended mode adds all sorts of new gameplay mechanics. So it's going to make your campaign more spicy, if you will. Will there be more movement skill cooldown recovery for the Zoomers? So there will not be new movement skills, but there are new runes for your metal that affect your evade skill instead of giving you another movement skill. So if you want to just have one button to press but have it available more often with the dodge, but not have like a leap or whatever, like you can actually do that instead.
Yeah, especially if you are a werewolf berserker, you have already 2 movement skills within your class, right? And then if you have another movement skill granting class on top of that, there's probably no way you're playing like 4 movement abilities. I mean, you could, but at that point it's probably better
but yeah, I think Werewolf Berserker might be the most mobile spec in the game now.
Yeah.
Because you have 2 movement skills right there. You can get another one for another mastery, and then you can get another one on your medal. Any buffs to pistols, so kind of like I mentioned for 2 handguns, we are making some 1.3 changes that will hopefully help. Fangs of Asterkarn is not on sale yet. Which games are we planning further? RTS, Grim Dawn 2, and a survival horror game. Yep, you got the list. And we're still supporting our town builder, Farthest Frontier, which will have a pretty major expansion next year. Wish you could add bows. Well, in our universe, the technology has superseded bows. So there are crossbows and there are guns. Well, Darius Crowley returned. Avengers Doomsday. Yeah, Crowley is dead, guys. You guys kind of did him in.
One day it's dead. Yeah.
What
has
are
been,
random system requirements for this DLC asking for a friend? Well, hopefully they don't go up. Why is the price so low? How are you paying your employees? We're paying them in exposure. What challenges will Ascended Mode offer? So there's a few new things that you might encounter in Ascended Mode. There is the Void Mark chest, which Rekt actually ran into just a few minutes ago, which you will get ambushed just by pretty much opening any chest in
Oh,
the game.
there's one just now.
There's another challenge. And when you're playing Ascended Mode, you might occasionally get ambushed by something called the Dread, which just popped in on stream. This monstrous creature can pop in anywhere at any time. You might be fighting a boss and it might spawn. You might be in a very tight room and trapped with it. You just have to deal. And it will pursue you until either it is dead or you are dead. Any idea what the price will be in the UK? I think British pounds to USD is pretty close 1-to-1, so it'll be about the same. Would you consider expanding the studio into Europe? Not likely, I'm afraid. We are pretty much US based at this point. Please add more upgradable city building sites in Grim Dawn 2 or even upgradable hub location. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, too soon to talk about Grim Dawn 2 mechanics. Pneumatic Burst and Blood of Drieg and other buffs that last 1 minute, you'd love if they lasted 2 minutes instead. But then why not 3 minutes? Why not 4 minutes? I mean, I think 1 minute was kind of a good balance between having it be always up and also, you know, something you're pressing for your heal. I don't think we're going to make that any longer than it is. A very interesting interview of Arthur Medea recently, but where's that awesome dude called Grava? Is he okay? Haven't seen him in a while. When will he join the live stream? Well, Grava's actually, while he did do a bunch of level work for the Fangs of Asterkarn expansion, a lot of his focus these days is actually on our survival game. So once we're ready to show more of that, I bet you'll see his face more online. I'm sure he'll be happy to talk about it, all the work that's gone into that. Could have charged you $35? That's fair.
Grava is like has fully dived into Unreal Engine for like the last 5-ish years, I assume.
Yeah, he's been on that project for a while now. But like I said, we did drag him back for making some Fangs of Asterkarn levels, and just recently I had to pull him back in so he could write a few lore notes for us. So that's always been like a team effort for the designers to just pump out some lore notes for you guys to read, and I did just spend the weekend editing all those. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's funny / awkward story in that, because when I was talking to the translation team a few months ago, like kind of giving a projection of like, you know, what we'll have in terms of amount of words that need to go into the game, and like, you know, when the release date is. And, you know, I told them roughly an estimate like 6,000 to 8,000 words for lore notes, and they're like, that'll be tough, but it'll be doable. And after this weekend, I, you know, finished the editing, and we're up to more like 12,000 words. So I think what's unfortunately going to happen is some languages are not going to be fully translated in terms of lore notes by release. Sorry. But we'll get that patched in as soon as we can. Sorry, guys, we made too much stuff.
Grava mentioned, and the Dread drops the Grava pants, and that's kind of...
Did he really?
Yeah. Also, as you can see here, chat, if you kill the Dread, right, he doesn't truly die, he just basically just goes back to his realm, yet ready to haunt you once more whenever you...
the Dread does not truly die, it'll be back.
It does.
Is there a way to get in touch with our artists besides the forum? No. If you're looking to talk to our artists, you can make a post on the forum, and they might see it and respond. I mean, they are primarily doing art, but depending on what you ask, they might be able to answer your question, or even I might be able to, depending on what it is. Will there be graphical improvements on Xbox? Will it mean high resolution and shadows? As far as I'm aware, there aren't any big improvements coming for Xbox. Like the parity between the two is pretty much 1-to-1, like PC to Xbox. So like anything that we've improved visually for PC also applies to Xbox.
So the Dread's mask is actually pretty interesting. It's the first green item with +1 all skills that is dropped by a... Well, is it a Celestial question mark? Currently it's not really marked as a Celestial, but it's almost Celestial level. I would say it's along the... or like about the same power level as like the weaker Celestials maybe.
Yeah, it's not quite super boss level, but it is up there.
Yeah, and the interesting part here is, I mean, you can like keep farming this guy and hope for some good affixes, or you could also roll the affixes, of course.
Will there be more shapeshift forms with items, or is it just Berserker? So each full like shapeshift form is like a full animation set. So it actually took months to get the 2 that we have in. So there isn't gonna be like full transformations like on items and stuff.
Did Red get killed? He did not get killed, but it is like when you I think when it drops like to around 30 or 25% HP, he basically he vanishes back to his realm.
I think it's 20%.
Yeah. So he
12,000
never
hours
dies.
in Grim Dawn. No, he never dies. And now the game will not play all my other games play. Now can you tell me why, including what can you do? If you were on the playtest recently, and you went back to the live game, that is probably why it's not working anymore, because the saves are no longer compatible. So that is the place I would start searching if I were you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to help you debug this on stream, but do reach out to support or make a thread on the forum if you need further help.
We made it to the passage in Frostvale Highlands.
And this is the passage that leads to the Kernlands.
Alright, there
Can't
we
believe
go.
it's 3 weeks and change till Fangs of Asterkarn drops, and just after your birthday. Well, happy birthday! Please finally add perma-night option in one of the later patches. I've heard a request for that before. We'll see what happens. Where are the build guides and the best place to find them? So Grim Tools or official forum are, I would say, are probably the best places. Maybe Wrecked by Protoss channel if you're interested in some hardcore builds.
Yeah, lately I've been mostly focusing just like fresh start, beginner leveling stuff. I haven't really like made like proper hardcore endgame builds on stream for like almost a year now, but I'll definitely like get back to that after expansion release. Been pretty busy like doing other stuff on and off stream, so.
Yeah, it makes sense. Your favorite part of a Grim Dawn is the lore. Do you have any plans to expand it via some media, like books or something else? I think that would be awesome. I just don't know when we'd find the time to actually write something like that. I'm not about to pop open
Watch
Chat
yourself
GPT and
out
see
there,
what happens.
Lowlander.
So I'm not sure when books would happen. It would be great, but it's like such a commitment, and I'd feel weird, you know. And I'm sure Madeira would feel weird too, just kind of like finding a writer and be like, write this for me. But like I need to make all the decisions about the creative direction. It'd be tough. Where all the people saying the game is too cheap, you can always buy the game and expansions for friends. That's right. Honestly, one of the best things that have happened to Grim Dawn over the years was the community spreading the word. Like, marketing for an indie company is just almost impossible compared to publishers. It's so difficult to get noticed by the media, and the thing that has made Grim Dawn the success that it is, today, is largely because of you guys spreading the word. You guys letting other people on Reddit and YouTube and everywhere else know, like, hey, check this game out. And that's how we got to where we are, because you guys helped us get there. So keep doing that.
Yep, spread the word.
Any improvements for the Steam Deck? Some things feel unpolished there. Aspect ratio controller support. So that actually has gotten better with 1.3. We've completely overhauled the game's UI, like from the ground up, basically. Like, so now the main menu actually scales with resolution. There's UI scaling for the menu parts that before just did not scale, because back when the TQ engine was made, they only had like, 1080p was the top of the line that you could get, and they didn't need UI scaling to work that thoroughly. And so with this overhaul of the UI, you should have a much better time on this Steam Deck. In fact, if you recall, like we had this warning that if you try to use the controller UI below a certain resolution, it would be like, this isn't supported. We actually got rid of that. You don't need it anymore. It'll work just fine at any resolution. Will there be more grobble attacks? There were on the streets that they're on the rise. In fact, there are more grobble attacks, and they are on the rise. Keep an eye out for those grobbles. They're up to no good.
They are indeed on the rise, yeah.
Lore notes are definitely one of the best things about the game. They're awesome. Glad you guys like them. Like I said, there's a lot of new stuff to read coming up. Some pretty gnarly stories that our designers have pumped out. So hopefully you guys enjoy those like you've enjoyed something in the past. Maybe there'll be a new favorite. I don't know. That'll be up to you. Who's stronger in their true form, the Dread or Logorian? I'd have to think about that one. Canonically. Where can you find more info on other projects that we have? So, like I've mentioned, the RTS and the survival game are not officially announced yet, so there isn't like a website up for them. But when we do, it'll be on the createntertainment.com website. That will definitely have links to their own respective websites to visit for more information. They will be up on our forums. Our official forums are the main hub where we kind of keep our communities together and make a lot of announcements. Honestly. I think I'm almost down to the bottom of one chat.
Nice. At least one of them, oh boy.
I might have to switch to the other one for a bit. You see some new components or a new stash for them? Yeah, so while there's a new components, that was one of the overhauls we did for patch 1.3. So whether you own Fangs of Asterkarn or not, you are actually going to get this feature. There's a new component and materials storage that's dedicated for all players. You can actually transfer items directly to them from anywhere in the world. It means you don't have to go back to town. And yeah, they're just organized for you. Yep, that button right there on the UI. And then, yep, things will just hop right over. And that will be up with 1.3 for everybody. Is there lore behind the Dread? There is lore behind the Dread, and you'll find some of it by playing the game. Will this expansion have a cinematic like Ashes of Malmeth did? It was sad when Forgotten Gods didn't get one. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It would be really cool to have one for every expansion. It unfortunately just was such a time commitment for us that it was kind of difficult to juggle with all the other stuff that we have going on. Like in an ideal world, they would each have their own, but unfortunately, there will not be another one for this expansion either.
You can currently get essences of Ugdenborg from the beast totems in Icebound Passage, for example. Just so you know. Like some of the trees that spawn there can drop essences of Ugdenborg, which makes not too much sense.
No, it doesn't. I will check on that after,
Just so you know.
after this. Actually curious which DBR I even left that still has that in there, but I'll take a look after the stream. The expansion, I just answered it. Is the expansion going to close up some of the lore, as in this threat, no more Chthonians, for example? If you're looking for closure in terms of the big ethereal Chthonian conflict, then no. This is another chapter in the big war that's happening between these powerful forces, and you are essentially a small player in this cosmic conflict. And while what you do in Fangs of Asterkarn will be another great step for saving humanity for another day, it does not make Cairn a safe place that's going to be rid of these great forces. Great is awesome. Been a supporter since the alpha release of Grim Dawn. I've never regretted it for a second. Great work. Well, thank you. Thanks for sticking around to what many years now. Over 10. Some time ago, someone mentioned how tedious it was to visit all quartermasters to get armor augments. Was there something done to make it less annoying? Why, yes, there was. So, fun little fact for Kernhold, the new questing hub in this expansion, is as you increase your reputation with them and earn their trust, they will actually invite merchants from all the other factions to come to Kernhold and and stand in their bazaar and offer you their materials. So effectively, once you've maxed out the current reputation in Fangs of Asterkarn, you will find every single faction NPC that's in the game, a version of them in Kernhold, right in one little spot. No more hunting across the whole campaign world looking for vendors. Would it make sense to encourage co-op by locking achievements between co-op and parties? I don't see why that would be good for the game. I mean, there are definitely people that love co-op, but a lot of people play action RPGs solo, so I don't see why we would punish those players in such a way.
Yeah, I think Grim Dawn's like peak at played like for single player, and if you want to play multiplayer, sure you can, but I think it's fine the way it is. Like,
yeah, I think it's definitely good that we offer multiplayer, and I don't see, you know,
100%.
having an RPG that doesn't have it, but it also wouldn't be the thing I would consider that's like the most important feature for people. It looks like we have the new beast nemesis that just spawned over here, or like a minute ago. The Underking. So there's a new nemesis for most of the factions that were in the base game and previous expansions. The only exceptions are Ethereals and Chthonians, who already had sort of a second nemesis in Ashes of Malmeth. But every other faction, including the Eldritch from Forgotten Gods, has a new nemesis. So that's another thing that will kind of spice up old content, is you will encounter these new enemies regardless of where you're playing.
you're not that
Not
far
related.
behind on
Thanks.
the stream. I think it's maybe like 15-20 seconds, not a whole minute at least. More like
Okay.
10 to 15 seconds.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm mostly just staring at the chat logs, so
Yeah.
not related. But thanks for also making one of the goats for this frontier. Won't say no more. No to more DLC for that either. So I think I mentioned that earlier in the stream. We are working on a pretty big expansion for Farthest Frontier that should be out next year. Pretty excited to get that announced and show you guys what we've been working on. But that's gonna take a while. Like, we did just do that one little DLC with the dogs and cats, but a DLC of the scale that we're working on next is gonna take time. However, we are also working on some free content updates for Farthest Frontier. Patch V1.2 should be out by the end of the year, and I imagine patch V1.3 will probably be out before the next DLC too. So there'll definitely be some stuff to look forward to, and there's some basic improvements to stuff that's already in the game rather than like new paid content.
Does this imply new nemesis enemies for Chosen, like Kami's Chosen, Crony's Gang? Yes, they also have new nemesis.
Yep.
Also, Death's Vigil has a new nemesis as well.
Yeah, all the old factions have received the new nemesis, except again Ethereals and Chthonians, because they already had to.
Yep. Well, with the Ethereals, it's like, I mean, technically they are like two factions, but
I understand that some people might be like, well, actually they're different factions, but
yeah.
internally they're not the same.
Well,
it's still like, what, 8 new nemesis bosses, so quite a lot.
Yeah. I only got triggered like one time running Pod Vevry and having like Valderon spawn like 7 or 8 times, where I really wished we had like a second like nemesis for the Ethereal
That's
faction.
fair.
But well,
I wonder if we should maybe have them interchangeably spawn.
maybe.
And, like, you just don't, like, you get Valderan or Alexander in the old content, or Valderan and Alexander in the new content, and they spawn or don't spawn depending on just faction state.
I'm
That
not sure
might
if
be-
people need more reasons to hate Pod Vevry, but with Alexander Meteor spawning there. But I mean, I
Hey,
would be down.
you just said it was boring.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would definitely be less
Let's
boring.
make
That's
it
true.
exciting again.
That's true. That's true. Let's make Pod Vevry exciting again. Yeah, exactly.
It may not be up to date on this mechanic, but aren't we afraid that the ability to craft perfect affixes kind of ruins the loot pleasure? So, I think the philosophy that we've always had is that you can finish a character in Grim Dawn. It's not gonna punish you for having a job or a family. But at the same time, the recrafting system for affixes isn't something that's just like you click the button once and you've got your perfect loot. It's gonna be a commitment, and it actually gets more expensive to recraft an item the more times you do it. So you might get like a good base item, but it might take you many rerolls to get that affix you're looking for exactly. So it might actually almost make sense to try to farm up another one where it'll be cheaper to reroll it to kind of get the result you're looking for. So no, I'm not sure it'll necessarily dilute the loot farming experience. It'll definitely help some people, perfect that one item they really wanted, though.
But very exciting, isn't Locksmere already enough? That's true, Locksmere has found a new
That's
home
true.
there now.
We did put Locksmere in there.
Also, as you can see here in the Freyr Valley, the global attacks are definitely on the rise, considering how many camps they have set up here.
Will Grimdawn have seasons and trade in the future? So that's something that, to really support officially, would take a fundamental rework of how multiplayer is built. And that's just not going to happen for a game this old, unfortunately. That's something we would have had to do from the baseline. It's really cool that Rekt and the rest of the modders working on the community league are doing the Lord's work there and getting that out for you guys. But like to actually make that official, cheat proof and stuff, it would be a huge commitment from us at this point. That it's just almost impossible to do retroactively. Any new information to share about the Ascension Altar? Yeah, if you want to bump a question in here, kind of what you're looking for specifically, I'm happy to answer. Like, there are many mechanics that the Ascension Altar adds, and many ways to customize your gameplay experience with it. So that's something we look forward to you guys, experimenting with and finding what works for you.
Just noticed that Igran Wordbreaker, I think, as well as some of the other behemoths, as well as some of the dire mains that have the... Or like, I think you guys fixed it at some point, but now the bug reoccurred where they have like their boulder like glued to their right hand.
Oh my god, we've fixed that so many times. I'm honestly running out of ideas on what else could possibly be causing that at this point. It's ridiculous.
That's
wonder
fine.
if we should just cut that boulder.
It looks great when it's not bugging out.
Yes, it looks great when it's not bugging out, and then it does that weird thing where you see like a boulder in their hand and a boulder flying towards you, and then you're like, which boulder is actually the one that's going to kill me?
Yeah.
Are we going to get access to an item database for Fangs of Asterkarn before releases? So, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, Grim Tools will, assuming Dammit is up for it, get updated about a week before Fangs of Asterkarn releases with all the new items that are coming. Is there an aspect of the expansion you've yet to talk about, but are super excited for players to enjoy? Yeah, there is, and that's all I'll say about it.
Does the new engine support the like potential multiplayer or even season architecture, or a season architecture potentially?
So I mean, currently the engine is built primarily for the RTS, and RTS is going to have online multiplayer that's hopefully going to have some seasonal stuff and like competitive season stuff. So I imagine that will carry you over to Grim Dawn 2 in some capacity. Like how exactly we do Grim Dawn 2 in terms of like online versus offline, like that's all still very much up in the air. I do feel like since what made Grim Dawn thrive is the ability to play offline, is that ability to mod the game, and I don't see us not doing that for a sequel. But in terms of having, like an always online mode like Diablo 2 did, I can see doing that. I just don't know if like how it will all, get itself sorted out once we're actually working on it.
For sure, I think it would be foolish to like remove the ability to play offline for Grim Dawn 2.
For sure.
Maybe some hybrid, like I think Volson did like have a hybrid. I mean, Volson for many reasons is a game that shouldn't be named, but one thing I think they did somewhat decently well is having the ability to play offline, like true offline, just like in Grim Dawn, but also having the ability to play online if you want to, and then have like some kind of like online credibility, I guess, if people are looking for that.
Yeah, I think that would kind of be the
Epoch
best
has
of
it
both
similar
worlds.
as well, but
yeah. Yeah, I think they do. And I think their goal is actually to have like seasonal content online and offline. So that might be something we might consider doing. It's just really too early to say. Like Grim Dawn 2 is many years away, guys. Just don't get too hyped up. Like development hasn't officially started yet. Like we're finishing up Fangs of Asterkarn, and then it's kind of when the pre-production, the planning, the goals that we want to hit with the new game will be, planned out, and then development will begin in earnest. So it is kind of funny. Away. Like not even like 2 years away. It's like 5-6 years away at the least, I would say.
Yeah, it is kind of funny when I was, well, rather still a bit newish to streaming Grim Dawn compared to now. back in like 2020, 2021, people kept asking me like, when do you think Grim Dawn 2 will arrive? And I always had this one answer, maybe next decade. And it seems pretty
that's pretty accurate.
reasonable now. Yeah.
That is pretty accurate, honestly. Like I don't think it's happening in this decade. I don't think that's mathematically possible. Yeah, so sorry for you guys on the Crate channel. If you're seeing ads, it's because I'm literally restreaming his stream and I am getting ads.
Oh, you
so
get
you
ads
guys
as well.
see ads.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, that. The upside is that he's doing all the gameplay while I'm answering all your questions instead of me like periodically freezing to see what's on the screen versus the chat log, which I feel like was not exactly the best experience.
Yeah, I did forget to like fully turn on ads for the stream today. I apologize for that, but I did at least pause my gameplay during the ads once like people in chat told me so.
Will we add new ways to grind faction wrap? It's kind of boring to farm the exact same location over and over again and reach level 4 Cronley Caimans. So in terms of those two factions, unfortunately there aren't new areas that feature them. We did reduce or not reduce, but we did increase the rep gain for a few factions, including those I think for version 1.3. So while we didn't include new ways to farm Cronley and Caimans and Death's Vigil, you will at least be able to do it faster.
Yeah, I think getting Nemesis with those factions feels pretty decent now. Like, or at least a lot more doable than it was in the past.
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
think
lot
I had a
faster
single character apart from my very first character before that changed who was Nemesis with the Chronic faction. Like, not a single one actually, apart from the very first one.
Okay, yeah, so it should definitely be a bit faster now. 2 Nemesis spawn on 1 game session? Yes, so that's another mechanic of the Ascension mode, is that Nemesis bosses can just keep spawning for the duration of the session. So you will not get attacked by a Nemesis just once, you might run into them more than once.
Isn't that actually a feature for all difficulties, not just Ascension? Or is it only Ascension?
I think we made it just Ascension, just so people that are playing on normal aren't like running into Kubacabra over and over and over.
Okay.
Would you please add a QL feature that allows us to craft every step of an item if you have all the components for an intermediate component instead of having to go back and forth between items to craft? That'd be pretty great. I'm not sure how likely like a complete overhaul of the crafting system is at this point, but if I had to pick like a quality of life feature to do in the future, that would be high up there.
Have you done anything for the bounties in the expansion?
Don't bring the bounty system up, it's my greatest shame. Unfortunately not.
I'm so sorry.
It's one of those things that like, you know, like since I am involved in kind of the planning of, you know, each expansion that we've done, like I kind of had a proposal to like, you know, discuss with Media, like, oh, you know, we should do these features, and then we kind of, you know, cut down to make sure that, you know, we ship in a reasonable enough time, which not that we did for Fangs of Asterkarn, but that aside, we like every single time I'd have on the list of features that I wanted to touch up is like redo the bounty system, and every time I'm like, it's gonna take so much, and I'm not sure like the impact will be worth it. I think we need to focus on these other things instead, and then, you know, it never happens.
Now I'm kind of curious about the
system...
ideas you had, but I guess you're saving them for
in terms of just doing it different, like it would just have to be like a dedicated UI where you can just open up and be like, hey, these things are on the map that you can do, and you pick them to complete, and like that would be like what's available that session. So not like running
kind of like
back
an
to a bounty
MMO games
table.
where you, kind of like an
Yeah,
MMOs where you go to a town and have like a billboard
like
or something like
system,
that.
Yeah. It would just be so much cleaner to do.
For sure.
But it would the amount of UI work and code that would be involved to like do that feature, where I feel like what we have already for gaining reputations is pretty sufficient. And I'm just not sure the impact would be worth it compared to, say, like getting the Ascension system in game. So it'll remain my greatest shame for this game. The system that I cobbled together from, you know, duct tape and sticks, but it is what it is.
Tarnish, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Crate Entertainment, so at least now you're not getting any more ads.
There you go, you've solved that problem.
Also sorry for like not thanking any of you guys for any follows or subs right now. I mean, I've obviously disabled the notification for the, well, just for the flow of the stream. But thank you so much everybody for all the support.
Yes, thank you for your sacrifice to get rid of the ads for everybody else.
Why not just have an NPC that gives you 3 to 5 quests to fetch him, do some stuff or kill, so we can give you reputation, is somebody asking here. I mean,
That's
isn't that
basically what the bounty tables already are.
I was gonna say,
So
yeah.
that doesn't really make it any different.
Yeah. I mean, the bounty table is basically that NPC, so...
Yeah. Every session it gives you 5 quests that you can do, and you can kind of cycle through. Did you try Titan Quest 2? What'd you think about it? Many years ago, you stuck with Gundam as some kind of spiritual... You stick to Gundam as some sort of spiritual continuation of Titan Quest 1, which you loved a lot. I wonder which way of game mechanic changes Grim Dawn 2 and Titan Quest 2 will get. So obviously, I don't know what they're planning, so I can't tell you like what improvements they're still got going on in terms of like spiritual, continuation. I did play Titan Quest 2. I think they had some pretty cool like monster designs and bosses that I fought in there. I haven't played it since they released that first act, so I have no idea how the later acts they've done are, because I was just kind of waiting to till the game's finished at this point. But I think in terms of like the feel, like the game visually feels like a spiritual successor to Titan Quest. Like that, like when looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this is what Titan Quest 2 should look like. So in that regard, I think they really nailed it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Do
Like,
wish them the best in terms of continued development. Because like I can tell you from experience, making an RPG is a lot of work. Does Fangs have any improvements for the loot filter system? Not currently. If there was something that, again, if we did any more quality of life stuff post-release, that would be something I would like to touch up. We'll see, how much more in terms of programming time we can dedicate to this game in terms of, instead of, say, moving on to Grim Dawn 2.
Oh, there he is.
Wonder if we'll ever redo Broken Hills, Barren Highlands area maps. Most people, I think, including devs themselves, said they're not happy with the maps there between Twin Falls and Homestead. So yeah, Act 2 was kind of a weird time in terms of the development of the game. Like we had a certain layout that we did, and so much of the feedback we were getting was that it was too open, it was confusing, people kept getting turned around. So we just completely redid like a bunch of the areas, made it much more linear in terms of like how you progress through the zones. And I don't know, I think ultimately, like you said, the devs aren't perfectly happy with that stuff, but at a certain point, like unfortunately in development, like you just have to move on. And yeah, like that's not our favorite zone in the game, but it is what it is. No, we're not gonna go back and redo it at this point. Will Ascension Altar be accessible for normal mode for leveling purposes? So yeah, you don't have to use this Ascension Altar only on Ascendant difficulty. You can use it on any difficulty to A, up the challenge, B, to kind of adjust the loot drops for yourself if you want to skew the monster and frequency you're getting in a particular direction, or even legendary items that are dropping in a particular direction. And you can activate all of the different Ascension mode mechanics on lower difficulties. So the dread that spawned for Wrecked earlier in the stream, you can get the dread to spawn on normal if you activate it in the altar. So again, the whole point of the altar is so you to cater the game to the way you want to play it. If you want more totems, you can do that. If you want more treasure troves, you can do that. If you want roguelike dungeons to be more lucrative, you have an option to do that. More nemesis bosses, like there's all these different ways that you can alter the game to cater to what's fun to you, because that's ultimately what we want the campaign to feel like. Like you're just running in there, you're doing what's the most enjoyable to you, and you're getting awesome loot for it.
Alright, we've made it to Water Kagnar, protecting the gates of the Kernhold here.
Your presence here is an insult.
Alright, let us... Okay, since we have the Mark of Ulfgarn, Son of Garn, they should be able to let us in. There we go. Very nice. Enter the Kernhold.
Yeah, so this is the major quest hub for the expansion. You'll be basically... You'll probably want to like make your respawn point here to get access to all the like crafting NPCs, to, as I mentioned earlier, to get all the faction quartermasters over here. The Ascension Altar is here. So I imagine most people will probably want to park here.
Yeah, there's gonna be like quite a few of mechanics that we can show in this area. So first of all, let me just get the rift gate real quick. And then to the northwest of the rift gate we have an altar, an extension altar, which
Yep,
yeah, you
there it
can
is.
click on.
So it's
but
not
I
currently
cannot...
unlocked for this character because
Oh.
you need to progress in the questline a little more.
Oh well.
This is a
I'll have to move on to a second character then later on, or like no, a couple of minutes maybe. Pay respects and leave. All right. Oh, you changed this. This was accessible right away in the past, wasn't it? Oh, well. Okay.
That was that was a temporary thing, but it is locked by at least, you know, speaking of the chieftain getting permission to walk around the town.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Also, you might have some
Would you
familiar
suggest starting a new
NPCs.
character upon release, or is the content exclusively end game? A lot of the content is available throughout the game. Like I mentioned, there's new monsters, new heroes. In terms of the Ascendant mode, that is exclusively level 100, but like whether you want to start a new character or you want to jump right into the new endgame stuff, like I don't think there's a wrong way to go about it. Like kind of what sounds fun to you? Do you want to roll a new character? Like check out Berserker from level 1? Go for it. And if you want to just jump right in level 100 on an existing character, definitely. They're both gonna be fun ways to just jump right in. In fact, you can play the new, you know, expansion content right away on Ascendant difficulty if you want on existing characters, and I bet it'll be a lot more fun and challenging than, say, like in Forgotten Gods when you had an endgame Ashes of Malmouth character and you just steamrolled and killed Korvac in 2 seconds because you're already decked out. Like that's not gonna happen in Ascendant mode. You love the Ascension Altar has the ability to increase crafting legendary recipe drop rates. Is anything like that planned? So, sort of. What you can do with the Ascension Altar is increase the drop rates of everything monsters are carrying with one of the, you know, crafting materials you can offer it. And that will effectively increase the drop rate of recipes that specific monsters drop. Not necessarily just like the general recipe loot pool that's available like from chests and stuff. Was
let's
Korvac
go.
actually a good guy? What do you get when do you get to revolt against the fake witch gods? What do you mean fake witch gods? What is this propaganda I'm getting on stream here?
It's always like people spamming Korvac did nothing wrong.
Korvac did nothing wrong.
Yeah, Korvac did nothing wrong. Father Karen was right.
So you are the
Is
one
Nightblade of
from
2 spears
Erewhon.
possible? It is not. Spears in Grim Dawn
Another
are
time,
two-handed
maybe I
weapons,
would
so you cannot
claim
dual
you
wield
and
them.
keep you as a curiosity. Study
Am I saying
so
Grim
as
Dawn
to
2 is
learn
coming?
more of
Yeah.
our great
We're gonna have to make a
end
Grim Dawn 2,
itself.
guys. Like, how can we
But all
not make a
things
Grim
have
Dawn 2?
changed. The Erewhon Empire is shattered, and a war
They're not gonna
between
let me
ancient
retire until
powers
we've worked on
threatens
Grim Dawn
all
2. Are you
life,
kidding?
binding humankind together. These are days of great purpose. What is your purpose?
Will
Dragon?
Zantai stream Season 8 so we can hear him complain about season balance and bugs? Yeah, Rect. When do I get to complain about balance changes?
I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, why don't you try out and play the next season with us, Season 8, which
One of these days I
hopefully-
should. Like, maybe
Yeah.
when I'm not, you know, trying to ship 3 games at the same time.
I mean,
Things should hopefully slow down.
Yeah. You can enjoy your own game from a different perspective for once.
That would be different for sure.
Or, well, it's not that different, but slightly different.
Well,
Alright,
you guys get all
Igor.
sorts of new content, so for that alone. Oh, yeah, there's Egrif, our marketing art
Yes.
chieftain.
What is your purpose, Traveler? She asks. Oh boy, she really starts with the deep questions right away. What is your purpose? Ulfgarn bid me to speak with
What?
you. I carry his mark.
Why am I
Original
here?
Ulfgarn has granted you this honor personally.
Alright.
Ulfgarn is not a man whose approval is easily won. If you've come to speak, then speak.
I want to
Any
find
plans
the
to increase the
source
character
of
limit
affliction.
to cloud saves on Steam? Unfortunately, that's out of our control. Steam has a pretty generous cloud save system in terms of how much storage it takes up, but they also have a file limit, like the number of files you can have in cloud storage. And that's actually the problem we're hitting in terms of their cloud system. Each character in Grim Dawn, you know, has a certain number of files that go into saving them. And so once you hit 50, basically capped. Like, we can't increase that without corrupting your saves. So unfortunately, if you want more than 50 characters, you will have to use local saves for that.
Very well.
We'll be able to romance NPCs, maybe when the paramour system gets added. Your pre-order level 100 boost. Get out of here.
You want the wolf as a companion? Well, there might be some items in store for you, right?
Well. If use the Ascension Shrine to amp X mechanic in normal, does it still apply when you go to the next difficulty, or you got to reach the shrine again? So the altar is a per session mechanic. So whatever way you juice it up, that applies to that session. With the health boss buff in 1.3, is there any chance you'll also buff the experience increase in veteran at 30% like in Grim Dawn League? Is there any chance you will see a sort of hideout with all the vendors, blacksmiths, etc. in one place like Hunter's Blind League? So I mentioned the faction vendors already will actually join you in Kernhall based on reputation. In terms of the health buff, that's actually contradictory to what the goal was, which is health was too low while leveling. Boss health have just not kept up with power creep to the point where someone who knows what they're doing is going to make a character and just delete every boss in the game in like 2 seconds, and like where are even all the boss mechanics at that point? So we actually increased all the health pools because we want the leveling experience to be more meaningful, for you to fight a boss long enough to actually see the mechanics and react to them. Great White Wolf, is that a reference to Geralt of Rivia? It is not a reference to him, it is a reference to Mugdragon, who is the Great White Wolf of Grim Dawn. Who was on the screen, please? You came in late. Hi, I'm Zantai from the forums, the production director at Creative Entertainment. Will the DLC be translated in 13 languages at launch as well? So we're working with a localization team now to get all the language stuff done on time. So yep, the entire expansion will be translated professionally, right for release. However, it seems like some of the lore notes will not be, because we wrote too many. So I apologize in advance for that.
For those of you playing Farthest Frontier, this vendor might seem familiar. Atka of the Iron Clan.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you've played Farthest Frontier, you might recognize that name. Can we have more than 4 stash tabs? You have way more than 4 stash tabs in version 1.3.
Definitely.
Not only are you getting 2 more stash tabs that are dedicated to your materials, you will also just get new stash tabs, period. So I think we're up to 10?
Yeah, I think so too. It's basically 10 stash tabs that you have now. So this Kernhold marketplace, right now we only have Atka of the Iron Clan visiting here, but as you progress the act, and also depending on like which faction, like which other factions you have befriended before, there will be other like vendors from other factions joining you here in this marketplace. So this kind of serves as a hub for you later on to, well, just if you want to like check out augments from different vendors, for example, for the end game, or in general like just want to like browse the different wares of different vendors, then this is going to be a very nice hub for you.
Yep. So that will be nice and convenient for anybody that just wants to see everything in one place.
Yep.
I'm watching you, Lowlander.
Mount Fuji also made it to a Fangs of Asterkarn. In a way. Can you upgrade offering components for Ascension Altar to double, triple in effect? So, the altar has slots for 5 outer materials and 1 inner material. The inner material affects the loot tables. The outer materials affect the mechanics. So if you want to really stack one particular mechanic, you can put 5 of that material in and really, you know, amp that up. If you want to kind of do a spread, you absolutely can too.
Oh yeah, and let me show the spreader real quick. So you have, as you said, I think it's 10 stash tabs. Like you have 1 dedicated stash tab for your components now, where also like all your components go into right away if you press this move reagents button from wherever you are in the world. Then 1 stash tab for the crafting materials. As you can see down here, you have the new ones from Fangs of Asterkarn as well. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that you can unlock on top of that. So it's, well, technically it's 12 then, it's not just 10. If you count the crafting material tabs as well on top of that.
Yeah, if you count the new stashes, like you get 10 dedicated ones just for loot, and then 2 that are for specifically materials.
Also next to the stash here we have the Herb Tender Nadala, which will introduce you to one of the new like mechanics in Fangs of Asterkarn. like after talking to her, we can use the Alchemy Cauldron, and here you will have a totally new UI opening up, where you can first of all choose between 3 different like base potion types, like the tincture, the flask, as well as the vial, which offer different
And all
bonuses.
those are upgradable with certain vendor you might meet later on.
Yep. So this -1 second skill recharge might become -2 or -3 and so on. Same for the potion modifier potency. Well, what does potion modifier potency even mean? It modifies the potion, like the potency of your modifiers. And down here, in the third tab of this UI, basically, or third part of the UI, you can see that right now I have the Sensor Chromatus modifier, potion modifier, which is the healing over time part that you have by default with your default health potion. But there are gonna be plenty of new potion modifiers to choose from, some of which you can buy from vendors, like faction vendors, when you progress the reputation, some of which will be drops from either like specific monsters or world monsters, like just like global drops. So yeah, we're looking forward to what your setup is gonna be here. And the same, of course, for the Elixir of Spirit, for the energy potion. And of course you can expect this to not only have ways to heal yourself more or give yourself more energy, but also like totally, you know, maybe even game-changing mechanics or quest-enabling mechanics.
Maybe. And one thing I will mention that's not currently in the build that Rect is playing, these potion modifiers are going to be quote-unquote account-wide. So if you like them on one character, you will have them across all your characters.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is not going to be a thing in the
Grim Dawn
live
3, where
version.
instead of going backwards in time to GDRTS, we go forwards in time, we go full sci-fi. I'm not even ready to talk about Grim Dawn 2, so I'm definitely not going to talk about Grim Dawn 3. Any supporter packs for goodies, there will be a Loyalist pack 4 after Fangs of Asterkarn releases, probably in September. So look forward to that. Some hot new armors on the way.
Being able to use the health modifiers on the energy potion is not going to make it to live, right? That is currently still in the build.
Yeah, so right now you can apply it to both potions, but along with the fact that you'll unlock them across all characters, you are only going to be able to apply each modifier once. So you're not going to be able to stack the healing over time on both your energy and healing potion.
But you could, for example, then get energy on your health potion and
you could, because there are modifiers that give you exactly.
Right. Okay.
So you can kind of make
cool.
them, you know, like a duo potion if you want, for sure. There's a lot. I mean, I think I said there's over 6,000 combinations, and that is a fact.
I'm not going to pick up like any side quests here. I'm just going to show you the Sorry. I'm just going to show the rest of the kernel, but I'm not going to like pick up any side quests, as we don't want to spoiler anything past kernel too much. And I think it's going to be also time for me to probably jump on a different character so we can show the Ascension altar instead, and maybe also the FX crafting and so on. Alright.
That sounds good. And then I bet on that character you probably have some potion modifiers you could show as well.
Probably, yeah, for sure.
Do you know if the DLC will have localized prices in other countries? I'm pretty sure it will. We tend to just follow like Steam guidelines for that, so the prices tend to just adjust based on the same ratios. I'm gonna ruin Season 8 by scheduling multiple updates in the middle of it.
Hopefully
I guess it depends on when Season 8 is happening, but hopefully we can coordinate that at least a little bit. Is there an ETA for 1.3 and FOA expect on Xbox? So patch 1.3, the plan is to release it at the same time as PC, so July 23rd. The Fangs of Asterkarn expansion is unfortunately going to be pushed back a little bit on Xbox. I think no more than like 4 weeks. That's going to give us time to get any hotfixes that we might have to do on PC immediately rolled into the Xbox release, and finish up all the stuff we need to do on the back end to get that released to you. But yes, it is coming to Xbox, and it's coming in August, roughly. Most likely.
Can models make changes to the Ascension altar? That's the question as well.
Yeah, the Ascension altar is actually very flexible in terms of what you can do. You can actually hook it into Lua scripts, for those that know what that means, and do all sorts of crazy stuff with that. Like, you could make stuff spawn in the world based on what materials you've put in the Ascension Altar. If you want to get crazy with it. So have fun with that, modders. The chance for rerolling affixes and suffixes are all equal, or the chance for some specific affixes and suffixes are dependent on the specific item. So as I mentioned earlier, rerolling affixes actually wipes any sort of affix bias an item might have. So it's basically treating it as like a base, like an affixless item that has no bias at all. Will the potion modifier potency modify the potency of your potion modifiers? Yes.
Alright, we're back to the current hold with a different character that has... Oh, there's even the ruined orb here now, I think. But yeah, that's... Okay, so we can talk about the Ascension Altar maybe first. If we click on this,
Sure.
we have this UI opening up. And then you can add components to the outer circle and also a component to the inner circle. The inner circle, I believe, affects what kind of loot or like what kind of affinity items will have. Like, for example, additional
so the inner
chance.
circle is just for loot bias. So you can skip that entirely if you're not looking for anything in particular, or you can add that into any combination you're looking for. The outer circle is where things get interesting in terms of mechanics, because that starts to alter like which mechanics you see more of, which mechanics are enabled on lower difficulties. So the Aether Crystal is a good option if you're just looking to speed up your leveling, and without actually like, you know, enabling anything that might be too dangerous for your alt to level up with. Like, you don't want the Dread to spawn, but you want more XP. That's something you can do.
Isn't it kind of weird that one single Aether Crystal gives you more experience gain than Veteran does?
I mean, I can think about increasing Veteran XP perhaps.
I don't think it's... I mean, I don't know if it's like really a big deal. I don't know how much Veteran increases HP and damage as well. Is it similar to one Aether Crystal? 40%?
I forget off the top of my head.
Yeah, whatever. I just realized it might be something to look into if you still have time to do that. I think you're gonna be busy enough doing other stuff right now anyway, up to release.
Taking a look at that.
Alright, reputation gain we have from the Aether Shard. Ashes of Awakening give you a higher chance of soul fragments and soul echoes. I wonder what
so
those do.
that is a new material that you will need to ascend your items. That drops from all bosses in the game. So using Ashes of Awakening will increase the probability of getting those juicy drops. What's the next number of modifiers we can have on potions? So each potion can have 2 modifiers.
Then we got the aspect of
2 more
Baranath.
roguelike dungeons post-launch. Yeah, Aspect of Baranath is an item that increases roguelike spoils. So that's if you're like running roguelike dungeons and you want more like unique Ascendant chests spawning in there. I mentioned 2 roguelike dungeons post-launch, speaking of. Are there more things we're planning to add that didn't make the cut for the expansion? Honestly, we cut very few things for this expansion, given that it took almost 3 years to finish. Yeah, like most of the things that we wanted to get in are in here. It's a huge expansion, guys, and we look forward to you checking it out very soon. Will there be a Switch 2 version of Grim Dawn? Probably not. We don't really have the expertise in-house to do a Switch port, and it's not likely that we're gonna, outsource that, because then one of us would have to manage the outsourcers, and that's not something we're thrilled about. Will new enemies appear in the Crucible? Absolutely. There's actually 30 more waves being added to the Crucible, 171 to 200, that will offer you new challenges and new rewards.
So if you want to make the Dread spawn in normal, you have to sacrifice a Celestial Essence from Forgotten Gods to make it spawn. But also at the same time, you have all enemies getting more damage to minions. That is kind of telling, isn't it?
Yeah, so you'll increase the chance of spawning the Dread or enable spawning the Dread, but all the minions in the world will become stronger.
Void Mark chest.
What did I say about the number of potion modifiers you got an add? The number of potion modifiers is 2 per potion.
Tropes. Okay, I don't think I've spawned Resplendent Tropes so far on stream, and I also didn't find any Tempest totems so far, so maybe at this time
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah.
but you can increase the chance of those spawning just like any other
Maybe I
mechanic
should.
in the new difficulty. Besides potions, what will be the new power creep of Fangs of Asterkarn? Can you tell me more about skill attribute points we'll have as rewards? So yeah, there's more skill and attribute points from quests. As we mentioned, there's ascending items of any quality now, which we'll touch into in just a minute when he talks to that NPC next to the altar.
The Yorn, like Yorn the Runekeeper. So over here, you have this other new UI where you can ascend items, and you can ascend all items now. As you can see, for example, I have a couple of ascended items. I have a blue epic mythical farmstead liberator that is ascended as well. In case you want to ascend blue items for some reason. I'm not saying this is ideal to do, but you can do it. I think it's also actually a little bit cheaper to ascend blues than
it is cheaper to ascend epic items.
Purples, yeah.
So ascending epic items and common items is significantly cheaper than ascending monster and frequents and legendaries.
Okay, I could ascend this Carnage ring here, for example. Is it still gonna delete my component? No, right? Hopefully not.
I hope
we're gonna
not,
find
because
out.
that should be fixed.
Okay, so now we have an ascended bonus. We have a 5% chance to use Feral Hunger. That's actually pretty good for this build.
Oh, there you go. Worked out.
Actually, it's not using Feral Hunger yet because I was playing this character mostly with old Upheaval, where you didn't want to use other weapon pool skills, but I guess now it's time to run Feral Hunger for sure. Yeah. Alright, let's get at least 1 point in that skill. So yeah, with
can I answer how
24%
conversion will work on... Oh. Can I answer how conversion will work on shapeshifting? Global conversion, or they only worked on shapeshift form skills. So if you get a conversion modifier on a werewolf or were-raven, that's actually global. So any damage of that type while you're in that form will get converted. So it's actually very flexible in terms of what you can do.
Yep.
The reputation gains also work on getting hated with some factions. Does increase the bed rep I get. Yes, so it increases in both directions.
Now, if you don't like your ascendant bonus for some reason, you can actually re-roll them as well. Let's go over here to the inventor. This inventor in Fangs of Asterkarn, or rather all inventors actually across the game, after you have completed a certain quest in Fangs of Asterkarn expansion, post Kernhold, you will unlock the ability to alter items. And down here you have the ability to either change a prefix of an item, change a suffix of an item, change the ascension bonus, or reroll the item seed. So basically it's gonna like reroll the stats, the rolls of the stats of the item. And if I take my what I want to do here, actually I don't think I have the materials. No, I do. Okay, this one needs different materials. So if you don't like the crit damage and OA on my 2-unit weapon for some reason, which honestly is already pretty good, like you can get skill modifiers on the ascendant bonuses, but you can also get like raw stats. But let's try to reroll it here once. There we go. Actually, we rolled on the same modifier.
I think you rerolled the seed. You have to change. You have to switch it to
yeah. Okay, my bad.
There you go.
Okay, so this one does need soul
fragments.
I don't have those. Hang on. Do I have like the small ones so I can craft some more soul fragments actually? I do. Okay. So in ascendant mode, more or less like all enemies are gonna have a chance to drop soul fragments and soul echoes. And actually it's not this smith, you need a specific smith to craft the soul echoes, right? Which is also present in the Kernhold now. Over here you have the Hranakian relics, whoever the Hranakians are. And
you'll learn about who the Hrnak are.
Yep.
And that will be a very important smith in your future.
Yes. So this smith allows you, for example, to craft soul fragments, like complete soul fragments or soul echoes.
I've been expecting you.
Oh yes, you do have a bunch of those. Perfect. So that'll be enough to reroll.
Yep. And
how common accessible do I expect rerolling style equipment crafting to be? It's very accessible in terms of how successful you'll be with it. I guess that's how hard you pray to RNG this. So I can't promise you guaranteed results with that. Any plans to add any type of soul self-found functionality to the client? It's a bit tedious to have to copy-paste files back and forth otherwise. I'm afraid that's not likely to happen at this point, but I do hear you. I think that is a type of play that some people enjoy, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be officially supported at this point. You have to ask any minion changes came to FOA, spoiled with Tame Beast and Spectres from PoE 2, any stuff for minion lovers. There's absolutely all sorts of new stuff for minion players. If you are a fan of Necromancer and want to have like a particular skeleton type, there are items that actually lock you in to doing that. So if you want like Chaos Skeleton Mages or like Frost Archers, there's numerous items that let you do that now.
Yeah, there should actually be a VOD on my channel, since that item is an item that drops around Act 3 already, where I was playing some Chaos Mage Necromancer, or like Chaos Skeleton Mage Necromancer build. So, yeah. It should be somewhere in my channel if you want to check it out in action already now, if you can't wait for the action expansion to get your hands on it yourself. The Thranakian Relic Crafter is also going to be the smith where you can like awaken your epic items, isn't it? For example, here we have the Eastern Gloves with their awakened bonus on the screen right now. Will you have to find the blueprints for awakened items, or are those going to be
You do not have to find the blueprints, you will have to find the item though. So to awaken an item, you need to have the base item obviously, but the blueprints are all already built into that crafter. And as I mentioned, there will be something like 96 epic items that will be on the list once the expansion ships.
Yes. Okay, now we can finally also reroll our Ascension bonus on this Pumps
There we go.
Liberator. So currently we have crit damage and offensive ability. Now we have attack speed, maximum attack speed, casting speed, and maximum casting speed. I mean, that's pretty good too. As you can also tell, the soul fragment cost is increasing here from 2 to 3, as well as the iron bits cost. So
Yeah, and it looks like you've actually rerolled this item a few times before too. You're up to reroll 4.
yes, exactly. So yes, you can reroll your bonuses, but they will become increasingly more expensive.
Menu animation is not making it into the game. Character animations make you sad. Can we know why? I mean, they're made for the main menu. They're not really something that blends seamlessly with all the combat animations in the game. So it's just not something that's supported outside of the menu. I'm glad you like them though. We had a lot of fun coming up with those. There'd be some way to be in Wolf Raven form 100% of the time during long boss battles. Absolutely. So there's multiple ways to extend the Were forms. Werewolf actually has a built-in modifier that you can get in the mastery that on crits extends how long you stay in Were form. Were Raven has another modifier that just straight up increases the duration, and both Werewolf and Were Raven have items that either give you new ways to extend them or can make them permanent. So you can just stay in them, indefinitely.
Alright, I'm gonna show some more potion modifiers real quick.
Yeah, sure.
This character has already, I think, the highest tier of potions unlocked. So as you can see, the Tincture gives you -5 seconds, the Flask has like better stats, the Vial has better stats as well. And I'm currently, for example, running, well, still while here over time actually, as well as Ventoros, which gives you 10 movement speed and 8% maximum movement speed as well. So this, for PoE players, I guess, can remind you of the Quicksilver Flask in a way. So we are getting Quicksilver Flask in Grim Dawn in a way. Also, there are some here that have no description actually. Let me change those to, for example, Menhiros, which grants you I believe it's similar to the Turtle Devotion, a turtle-like absorption shield that you can run. Or what else do we have? For example, there's stuff that make the potions change how they work, like for example Revorum. This will give you another 100% more potion modifier potency, but the base properties are disabled. So if I put this, for example, on my Elixir of Spirit together with Menhiros, now this character basically has no energy potion whatsoever, but instead it is gonna have a huge absorption shield instead. I believe there's also one that makes allies benefit from your potion instead of yourself. So
that's gonna be a good one for those pet players out there.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to heal your pets and with potions, you can do that now. Also, I assume for multiplayer it's gonna be pretty interesting. There were the 4-man group who push Shatter Ram all the way to the end
Oh,
at
yeah.
some point, right? So
I can see someone taking advantage of that potion, kind of min-maxing that. Maybe having a person that's just like a pure healer. Yeah,
and not only that, you can
there's a lot
also
of fun combos in there.
more or less get active skills like Expulsimum, for example. So if I press this potion now, we have like an explosion skill that reduces enemy damage and knocks enemies down around you. So if your skill, like if your build, for example, is missing that damage reduction debuff to enemies for whatever reason, then yeah, you can complement your build now by getting it in a potion modifier instead.
Yeah. A lot of
I
fun
think
stuff in there in terms of how you can
there's
customize.
couple that I don't have yet. There's definitely like a bit more still.
Yeah, there's what do you have in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so there's actually a few you're missing on this character.
Yeah, for sure. Chromatorum is oh yeah, this would make my that's kind of like a maybe a middle ground between what was the other one, like Revorum and not using a Revorum. This gives you 50% potion modifier potency. Oh no, actually it's the other way around. It gives you 50% potion base potency, but instead these properties are over time instead of instant. So if you
so a few of these are like mutually exclusive. Like you can't combine those. Obviously, you can't make the potion not do anything and also do more. Because that wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, so that one is good if you don't need that instant burst heal, but you just want that sustain.
Yep.
People are getting pretty impatient with the postponements of Fangs of Asterkarn release is actually a compliment in itself. In hindsight, what would you have done differently in regards to announcements? Honestly, I don't think I would have done anything differently in terms of the announcement itself. I think that served its purpose, even if it was very frustrating for many people. We wanted you guys to be aware that, like, hey, Grim Dawn's alive, guys. We're making more stuff. We want you to know it's coming. And that was ultimately the goal of announcing it that early in development. Like, we actually never announced an expansion that early in terms of how far along it was before. And on top of that, Fangs of Asterkarn took longer to develop than we initially anticipated because we made it way too big. But the goal was to remind people that, hey, Grim Dawn is in development, like there's new stuff on the way, keep us on your radar, don't forget that Grim Dawn's around. So in terms of that, I don't regret announcing it as early as we did. Even if I do apologize that it was a frustratingly long wait.
I'll let you catch up with some questions while I'll just run through the areas, hoping to spawn, like, for example, a Tempest Totem.
Oh, there you go. Sounds good. Which skill is the biggest pain in the butt to balance to the point you've actually considered reworking it? I mean, Upheaval, I would say, was one. Upheaval was a skill that was such a pain in the ass to rebalance that we did rework it. Like, for 1.3, it's been completely redone. Changes to existing smiths, or at least a place where you had all of them available. So there isn't a place where all the smiths are available, unfortunately, but there's a place where all the faction vendors are going to be. Any change to metals? Because at the moment the power utility that comes with is a bit tamed, mediocre compared to metals in TQ. TQ had metals? Did they add them in one of the expansions or something? I'm not familiar with metals in Titan Quest.
I don't think they have metals.
So I'm not even sure what you mean there. Like, yeah, I don't think they can be tamed in comparison to an item that didn't exist.
I think he's talking about relics.
Oh, so not metals, relics. No, I don't think we'll be making them any more powerful than they are. There's no reason to add power creep in that gear slot. WSD support is their most hyped feature. Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, V1.3 is adding WSD support to the game. It is controller-based WSD, not like run and gun. So if you're hoping to, like, you know, run in one direction and shoot in another direction without stopping, like, that's not supported, and we're not planning to, because that's like a whole different can of worms. But for a lot of people that have been asking, like, one of the reasons that actually tipped us over to finally doing it is the people that just came to the forum be like, this will help me be able to play the game because, like, I can't, you know, play with a mouse and keyboard like I used to, like, my hands don't allow me to, and, like, having WSD would actually be the accessibility I need to be able to play the game again or in the first place, and we're like, okay, that actually makes a lot more sense. So that was one of the biggest motivators for why we added it, ultimately. Is there support for Chaos Werewolf / Raven? Yes, actually, in fact, those are transmuters for those skills in the mastery itself. Is there a way to access 1.3 early? You can actually opt in. I think someone just gave you a link down below. Perfect.
Since I'm playing on Ascended mode now with additional juice from the altar, is there gonna be a UI element like showing you what modifiers you currently have active?
So there's a hotkey for opening up the Ascension Altar UI at any time. I think it's A by default, unless it's been rebound.
Nah, I definitely have that rebound somehow. Okay, let's see here.
But yeah,
Oh,
there's
Ascension
a
window,
button
there
for
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, what?
So
do I
it looks like
even
it's
have?
unbound for you.
Yeah, because A is like bound to
Okay,
something
yeah.
else for me.
Yeah, so there you go. So you
Okay.
can actually review that at any time. You can modify it like out in the world, but you can
Yeah, you
but
cannot
you can
change
view
it.
what you did. FOA is the first time I saw internet people were not like, why are you doing it so slow, but rather keep cooking, we're not in a hurry. I mean, there were a lot of people that did say that. And then I do appreciate the people that are patient with us. There were also a lot of people that were maybe a little rightfully like, what the fuck, how long is it gonna take? And I think, again, I do apologize how long it took. I do hope sincerely that the amount of content that's in this expansion will make you guys forgive us for how long it took to make. This expansion is a love letter to our community. We've put so much time and effort into making this for you. If you love Grim Dawn, this is so much more Grim Dawn than you've ever gotten before. And I really hope the wait was worth it. I certainly hope the last 6 months of my life will have been worth it, because my god, I don't think I worked this much since we shipped Grim Dawn. But I do hope it pays off. And then any changes to the devotion system or any new trees. So I mentioned this earlier in the stream, if you're just hopping in. Devotions changes are always just going to be patch stuff. Like any balance changes that we do are going to apply to all versions of the game, not just in the new expansion. We are not adding more constellations, and we're not going to rebalance things just for the expansion.
We are gonna get a new loading screen as well, right? Loading?
Yeah, there's a new loading screen with the expansion. In terms of the main menu, I think you've already seen it during character select.
Yeah.
Like you can just go into the menu options and select which one you always want to see if you were really in favor of seeing Ashes of Malmeth or Forgotten Gods all the time. I mean, I really like the Ashes of Malmeth one. Thematically, it just seems so Grim Dawn.
For sure, yeah. I mean, Ashes of Malmeth in a way like really feels like the conclusion to the base game, the proper conclusion to the base game.
Yeah, there's a story. It just kind of wrapped up.
Yeah,
like,
in terms
where
of
things start,
story
sure.
and like overall vibe and so on. It's
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, I think that was kind of when we really got into our element in terms of like, yeah, this is the the style we're going for. This is the kind of story we're telling. Like that's when we really like had it nailed down. And like Forgotten Gods obviously took things in a very different direction. I feel like every chapter that we've done, Fangs of Asterkarn and Forgotten Gods, they don't continue like the main ethereal thread that you've seen in Ashes of Malmeth. They do still tell very important stories in terms of the lore. Anyone that loves the lore and follows it, and I've seen you guys on Reddit and on the forums like kind of theorizing about all the different threads we've started. Like it all ties together in hopefully interesting ways, and like the witch gods, like what part they play in the whole big cosmic aspect of the storyline. Like what's gonna happen in Fangs of Asterkarn that you'll see, like what parts does that play into it all. Like we're having a lot of fun like telling this story to you bit by bit, and I hope it all pays out. Are we adding Steam Deck support for the expansion? So I mentioned this with version 1.3, we're completely overhauling the UI, which should actually make it much more compatible with the Steam Deck. I haven't had a chance to try it myself. I did request a dev Steam Deck from Steam. Hopefully they'll send me one so I can try it for myself. But I'm pretty sure it is now basically checks all the boxes for compatibility, because you can rescale all the UIs to fit. Why are we killing beavers and breaking their houses? I don't know why. Why would you do that? They seem like such nice guys. Can I go back to what I was saying about changing the health pools for the bosses or players? Something about seeing their mechanics. Did you make a complete balance pass for the whole game? So I mean, that's something that we touched on in every patch, really. Like we make balance tweaks throughout, like older stuff and newer stuff. Like honestly, I've secretly been buffing some old bosses like with every patch, I'm just not mentioning it. Because I felt like they've fallen
Yeah.
so far behind in terms of the challenge. Like, I don't know, I feel like Ashes of Mammoth and Forgotten Gods had a certain difficulty level that people came to expect, and then vanilla stuff and some of the lower level Ashes of Mammoth stuff like didn't really compete. Like you felt like you just steamrolled through those bosses or enemies and it was no threat, versus then you'd go into Forgotten Gods and fight like Korvac or Father Kaiman or some other big boss, and that's like a way bigger challenge. And I wanted to go back to some of the older bosses and be like, let's level things out a bit, so when you run into them, like, it feels like a proper boss battle, especially like in the Shattered Realm or something. So yeah, I've been sneaking in balance changes here and there, and then yeah, there was a big health rebalance coming in 1.3 that's going to increase health pools across the board, give those bosses more breathing room so you can actually seal the mechanics and have to deal with them.
Yeah, I noticed literally that. I think yesterday I was saying there's definitely like more going on than just the health rebalance. There must have been some ninja changes here and there, some of the bosses, rightfully so.
There's definitely some ninja changes for sure. Like Log Horin got a touch up in patch 1.3 too.
Yeah.
So some people, they were saying like, oh, you just face tank him and he's just a big sponge. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna let that pass.
That bite hurts now, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that bite bites now.
Mm.
Are there some existing sets that got additional Berserker skill support? I'm willing to bet Korba's set will get it. Your bet would be a very safe bet, and yes, there are, I think, 10 sets from the base game expansions that have had Berserker support added to them in various capacity, including epic sets, and some of those epic sets are getting awakened. Like Rect actually showed some pieces of the Eastern set that supports Trojan's Sky Shard and Winds of Asterkarn. So yeah, you're gonna see things like that throughout.
Maybe should have like put even more components into the Ascension Altar for the totems. So far.
Oh, did you not mix it out?
Not quite, no. I haven't played this character in a while, to be fair, so I wasn't sure. But I mean, dying would have been fun for the stream too, I guess.
Oh. You start new campaign at level 1, so you can already start a new character at level 1 on any difficulty if you use the difficulty skips. And that's actually one of my favorite ways to level alts, is to just start right on ultimate. It kicks your ass a little bit at first, but then you kind of like really get things rolling because you get a ton of XP for like every kill and every quest. Will there be a super boss in Fangs of Asterkarn like Crate with similar secret quest line? No comment. Is there any chance that Community League will get official support, like in Path of Exile last Epic? So we are, as I mentioned before, we are not going to officially support season content, because to do that would require fundamentally reworking the game in a way that's just not feasible at this point. We are very happy that modders have kind of filled in that gap with unofficial content, which is great. Like, I look forward to you guys enjoying more seasons of that in the future. But officially, there's not going to be seasons. Is there something like GD fatigue, considering you guys have been working on it for so long, regarding potential future of a successor? I mean, that's why we started working on other games, you know? Like, we didn't want people to just burn out working on Grim Dawn forever. And then we got the itch, and then we came back and made... nice, you got a Nemesis and the Dread. That's what happens!
That's what happens.
Mode. But, yeah, so, like, you know, to give people a break. That's why we started working on Farthest Frontier. That's why we're working on an RTS and the survival game. That is a way for people to kind of, you know, get their mind out of working on ARPGs, especially Madeira, who's been working on ARPGs since Time Quest. So for him to have worked on Time Quest and Grim Dawn and then work on 3 more expansions, like, that's a lot of ARPGs. So yeah, so that was kind of his way of getting a break from it, is, you know, making Furthest Frontier in the meantime. Now he's kind of putting a lot of his focus on the RTS, and like RTS is one of his favorite genres, so you know he's gonna put a lot of thought into that one. But when the time comes to kind of bring people back in for Grim Dawn 2, I think by the time it really ramps up, the people that you really want working on it, the top men, if you will, are going to be refreshed. They're going to be ready to try new things, like do things, you know, from a clean slate. That's honestly the thing that gets us most excited about working on Grim Dawn 2 for the guys that have been working on it forever, like me and our art director Amanaxi, is just starting clean. There's so much baggage from Titan Quest and like the base game that we've accumulated that it's just like difficult to either remove or work around. To just start over is really refreshing. Like there's so many things that we can just change up because we can just rip it all out. We don't have to worry about how physical damage is calculated like 20 times instead of like all at once, because we'll do it differently for Grim Dawn 2. And that has me excited to just even start thinking about it, like, oh, what would a mastery be like in Grim Dawn 2? What would the loot system be like in Grim Dawn 2? All of that stuff can be done from the foundations in a way that, you know, we envision will be best.
This is in-game music, in case you guys are wondering. The red music gotta be like one of my favorite musics in the whole expansion. It's absolutely epic, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was the thing that happened really late in development. I was just like talking to our composer Steve Pardo, and you know, he was kind of wrapping up the soundtrack. You know, we had like the final boss track that we were working on, and he was just like, "Is there anything else the game's gonna need?" And I was like, "You know what? Make sure Madeira's cool with this, but what if we added one more track?" And that's how we got that Dread soundtrack in.
Very, very worth it, in my opinion.
And I'm very happy with it.
Yep, absolutely amazing. Finally, we got a Tempest Totem. Let's go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh my god, okay, what is this?
So Tempest Totems are the upgraded monster totems specifically for Ascendant mode, or you can enable them in lower difficulties. And what they do is they spawn like a ton of tough mobs, and 1 to 2 unique bosses that only spawn for those totems. And so those guys have their own monster infrequence, and the totems themselves will drop a ton of like new materials. We've actually increased the drop rate of those materials for the next build, by the way, Rect. And
nice.
and so like again, if you like hunting monster totems and you want more of that, then you know, increasing the chance of those appearing in the world will be like your reward, like your way to play.
Yeah, they're dropping these energy style weapons, aren't they? Like the Rime Blast Spear and so on, I believe. There's like 10-ish, I think, or like for at least one, for each damage type there's like one specific Tempest-born enemy, right?
Yeah.
Dropping the, well, appropriate...
What, we're still getting ads on the crate one? I thought someone giving me the sub would have gotten rid of them.
You might have to refresh the stream, maybe.
I'm afraid to touch it now because it works.
Alright, I'll just pause my gameplay for a bit.
Oh, the Twitch chat you're seeing inside of the game window, that's Rect's channel's like stream chat.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit too much going on at the same time, but it is what it is.
What is Madeira like as a boss? Very spongy. Too much health.
Too buffed, yeah.
Too buff. You're glad Steve's back on the expansion OST. Grim Dawn OST, easily one of your favorites. Well, I have good news for you guys that have already picked up the soundtrack. We have made the decision, and this will be happening in the next couple weeks. For anyone that's already bought the soundtrack on Steam, you will get all of the new tracks for Fangs of Asterkarn added for free. So you can look forward to that. So a lot of those tracks you've been hearing today, actually, like before the stream on the Crate channel, and like when the Dread spawns, like all those tracks will be included. And if you haven't picked up the soundtrack yet, it's on sale right now. Just saying.
Oh, I have to reset my session.
I've actually caught up with the chat.
I need to reactivate reset my session now, right? To change the altar?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually caught up with the chat. Can you imagine that?
Wow. Only took you 2 hours.
It only took 2 hours.
Well, in case you're running out of questions, I have some more that I gathered. Like
Really?
I did a YouTube post like a couple like days ago when I was announcing the stream, and I
Well, let's
was
hear 'em.
encouraging
I can
people
jump
to.
into-
I was encouraging people to post their questions below that post in case we are running out of questions. Let me just find it.
Yeah, let's hear some of them.
quick.
Maybe there'll be some more in the chat by the time I answer those. Oh, I seem to have disappeared from the camera again. It
Oh, yeah.
seems like when
sorry.
you switch windows, it hit me.
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly. I need to have
me,
Discord.
the box
okay,
of
there
Crate
we go.
Entertainment.
Literally. No. All right, let me switch this over here. Okay, question number
Do you have
one.
plans
Does
for-
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, you take one more, and then I'll.
All right, one more. So,
Start
do
with
you have
mine.
plans for future non-ARPG games? You really like Furthest Frontier. So, Furthest Frontier is gonna get more stuff for sure. Our town builder, or sorry, not town. Our survival game is in development and should be getting in some, big announcements in the coming like year or two. And similarly, our RTS. So, there's actually a lot of non-ARPG stuff on the horizon if you're into that. All right, first question from the YouTube channel.
Yes. Thematically and lore-wise, how do berserkers differ from shamans?
So thematically, they're actually pretty closely tied together because shamans and berserkers are pretty foundational to the Kern. Like you'll be seeing a lot of warders, you'll be seeing a lot of berserkers, you'll be seeing a lot of shamans and mystics in the Kern NPCs. So I would say thematically they're very intertwined. They both kind of worship Dragon as their prime like deity. Mechanically they are pretty different because, Berserker is shapeshifting for one, but Berserker is primarily kind of catered towards tool wielding, where Shaman obviously more focused on two-handers and lightning, and Berserker's more cold, chaos, and shapeshifting.
Have you used AI in any of the making of Fangs of Asterkarn? Moonbeast Studios, in brackets, Darkhaven, the old Diablo 2 devs, say they are proud of not using AI in their development. Everything should be 100% human-made. What is your take on this?
Our take on that is honestly very similar. We have actually answered that question for a recent interview. Our take on it is that you cannot replace human creativity. And humans are involved every step of the way in making all of our stuff. There's nothing in the game that was made by AI, and we have no plans to have anything that just like straight up is AI. We have used AI as sort of like a brainstorming step, sort of honestly similar to like going to ArtStation and Googling like inspiration. We have used it to be like, hey, make us some images of, like this or this, and be like, okay, that kind of gives us a visual over to start. But like that's kind of where we stop currently in terms of like art. Like there's never been a point where someone like generates like a full image and then just like makes a few tweaks and like that makes it into the game. That's never happened, and we have no plans to do anything like that. In terms of programming, I think like Claude and stuff has gone decent enough where I think they have at least like utilized that in some capacity, but from what I've heard, it's actually gone worse in the recent models. So I'm not sure how much even that's
they got
getting
so
used
expensive
anymore.
with their tokens now.
Yeah, they've gotten really expensive, and like what they ended up doing is I think they dumbed down the model to make it cheaper to run.
Exactly.
I think that degraded the quality and the reliability of using it.
They increased the prices for users, and they reduced the power of the model basically to keep their own costs down, because I mean AI,
right?
Even in this version, in this like dumbed down version, it's still not really like profitable yet. So yeah, they need to slowly but surely try to become a little bit profitable at least, and whether or not it's going to be viable to use.
Right. They're focused on profits over like a quality product at this point, I would say. And like I've tried using, like Gemini to generate me like a list of like adjectives as like inspiration for some dialogue I was writing, and it couldn't even follow the simple instructions of giving me 10 unique adjectives, and I'm like, how am I supposed to use this? I generally don't. In terms of where things are going with AI, I mean, it's so hard to say. Like, we're definitely keeping an eye on like what the industry is doing, like what the common practices are going to be down the line. But at this point, like the tools are just not there to make them a viable alternative to like development.
Yeah,
like I said, like, you cannot replace people's personal experience. At best, it's going to be a tool, and at worst, it's not going to get used. Because as we've said in the interview, like you just cannot replace the human experience that goes into coming up with this stuff. like all the lore notes that I was mentioning, like that the team pumped out for you, like that's inspired by, you know, the stories they've read, like video games they've played, the movies they've seen, their personal life experiences. And like you're not gonna teach a model to do that.
No.
I don't think we're gonna be replacing that anytime soon.
And if you ask AI to be creative, they're also only like regurgitating stuff that other people have already done at some point, so it's not actual true creativity.
And like so much of it is like, you know, recent modern stuff. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. It's just not there.
All right, next question. What were some of the hardest decisions in designing Fangs of Asterkarn?
Hardest decisions. I mean, one of the hardest decisions, I guess, was kind of the item ascension system. Like, we kind of tried it one way, and you know, experimented with it and played with it for a while. And like, you guys actually, like in the playtesting group, ooh, you almost died there.
Almost, that was close.
Gave it a try, and like, it just didn't feel good. Like it felt like it really didn't land in its initial iteration, which is why we redid the system, like with the new NPC that you've interacted with to add those affixes, and that feels way more fun. So I think that's, you know, one of those hard things that like you come up with a certain design direction and you implement it and you actually play with it and you're like, you know, either you kind of force it and be like, you know, this was what we spent time on, like we have to get this in, or you're just honest with yourself and be like, this isn't what's best for the game. We need to redo it. And that's what we ultimately did.
Yeah, I got my Ascension Altar fully juiced up now, and I can definitely feel that now.
Yeah, I bet. Oh yeah, that's a lot more offensive ability too.
Yeah, for sure. And the DA of this character is already so low that I think at this point, like, even white mobs can like start critting me.
Yeah. So you
yeah.
even like 3% chance for that little hero there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can choose that altar to be pretty dangerous if you want, but yeah, some good rewards too though. Yes, Fangs of Asterkarn will add more devotion shrines, for sure. How strong are Ascended Epics compared to double MI or legendary items? Do they have fixed modifiers for given items? So Ascended Epics are effectively on the same power level as regular legendary items. It's just bringing them up to par, making them useful again. And yes, they have fixed stats, they have fixed modifiers on them. They're not like randomized.
Will there be, will you expand further on controller support so we can bind switch action bar to hold instead of toggle?
Oh, that's something you might just have to leave some feedback on the forum for us to like review and talk about of the programs, about like what's possible and such. You know,
I want to know.
In case I'm not keeping track of everything in the conversation here. What's up?
I want to know how the devs feel about the game right now. Since Fangs of Asterkarn is complete in the next month, are you proud of your game? Or is there still something missing that you would like to add that you maybe cannot add because you just want to move on to the next game or the next engine? Yeah, that's I think the question.
I mean, I think I'm speaking for probably almost every developer in the game industry where you will never be fully satisfied with what you've made. There's always going to be something that's going to nag you, like the bounty system that we just talked about earlier. Like, there's always going to be something where I'm just like, like I wish that was done differently, or I wish I could do this differently. But like, or like even fundamentals of the game, like, I wish we didn't have to, you know, deal with this system. So for the rest of my life, I'm going to think back and I'm like, I wish I did that differently. But you also have to, you know, in game development, have a stopping point where like, okay, we need to move on. This is good enough. Maybe it's not perfect, but it'll do. And you know, sometimes a sequel is actually a chance to try things differently, to try again. But in terms of like being proud of what we did, I am so proud of this expansion. I think this is Grim Dawn on another level, and I hope you guys agree.
Grim Dawn has truly ascended, I think is the right wording here.
I said like in the I think announcements that we did, like about like one of the delays, that like we're you know, sending Grim Dawn off with a triumphant roar, and I absolutely feel that. For sure.
Currently Steam allows for 50 characters, but Berserker, the game, now exceeds 50 class combinations. Actually not true, it's 45, I think now. Will the expansion increase the number of character slots?
So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, unfortunately that is a file limit on Steam Cloud and not like a storage limit, and we just can't change that And unfortunately, that is the limit you have to stay with if you want to play with cloud saves.
Alright, and then I think the most important question is, does Zantai prefer, like, do you prefer pancakes, waffles, or crepe?
That's tough. If you had to make, if you put a gun to my head and made me answer right now, I'd have to say crepes. But I mean, I like a good waffle too, so I don't know. I'm on the record now.
I mean, there's one more question.
Make
Are there
epics great again. Yeah.
other plans to introduce even more classes in the future? But I mean, I'm pretty sure that would only go with an
The answer to
expansion.
that
So
is no.
yeah, it's
Similar
it's
to how there will
no.
not be a 4th expansion, there will not be an 11th class. I just don't want to see the item tooltips with another mastery added to them. It's bad.
If you want to play even more classes, there's tons of mods out there made by modders who've done an awesome job, honestly.
With Dawn of Mastery has like 20 more or something crazy.
Yeah,
and then there's the Diablo mastery mod that adds like all the Diablo classes, so you can mix and match with the Grim Dawn ones. So yeah, if that's like what you're craving for, mods are your answer for sure.
100%.
Do you think Grim Dawn will remain Craig's magnum opus? I hope not. I am very proud of our game, and the team is very proud of what we've done. But I'd like to think that I'm not leaving my greatest work behind me. That I still have some great work ahead of me. So I hope it's not my magnum opus. I hope that's some other game we'll work on. Maybe in hindsight that will be the case, but I hope we make some good stuff before I retire. What big stuff is scheduled for post-release patch updates, like the aforementioned 2 roguelike dungeons? So there's the roguelike dungeons, for sure. There's going to be some new item sets. There's some other kind of stuff that we're kind of juggling around in our heads about adding post-release that I'm not ready to talk about. And of course, there's going to be more awakened epic items. Will we get more Scorf content in this X-Pack? What about only Scorfs? Give me like a mode where everything is Scorf. Well, that sounds pretty appealing. I mean, who couldn't say no to more Scorf, right?
Only Scores, yeah.
Hashtag only Scorf.
That sounds like a good idea for a mod as well, to be fair.
What's my favorite mastery combination from the expansions, so specifically of Berserker? I've always been partial to Nightblade as one of the masteries. And so Berserker Nightblade is one I've had a lot of fun with. Nightblade Arcanus has kind of been my absolute go-to mastery combo, and we just made a set that's Zantai themed, if you will. That's all about like my playstyle. So check out that set when you get it. Are lore notes written by only one person? No. So I was actually talking about this earlier. Like it's actually collaborative effort from all the designers. We actually direct back designers from the other projects and be like, look, I need you to write me some lore notes. And that's what I spent the last weekend doing, is editing everybody's lore notes that they wrote. And so that was like 1, 2, 3, 4 other designers besides me that wrote lore notes for this expansion. And there's something like 12,000 words of new lore for you to read, not including dialogues.
Quite a few item spoilers that we're getting here, even from Nemesis that didn't spawn on stream. We have Radoth as well as Ignis Mantle here. Ignis' Mantle, I believe these dropped probably from the Dread or something earlier.
Oh, maybe they did, yeah.
Might also just be like Ascendant mode shenanigans, dropping them in some way. I don't know, maybe from Tempest Totems?
Yeah, I mean, any one of those places could have dropped monster figures from the whole game, so yeah. Are we getting retaliation for pets? I was not planning to expand retaliation for pets. That just seems like a whole can of worms. What are new features for Fangs of Asterkarn? That's going to be a long list, so I honestly recommend you stop by the Grim Dawn website, you go to the game guide, and there's a page for Fangs of Asterkarn, and you can read up on all the new features. And if you're curious about any of them in detail, we actually have a detailed blog of thing called Grimace Adventures that kind of goes really in depth on all those mechanics. So I recommend giving that a read if you're curious. Will Grim Dawn 2 be actually a sequel, prequel, or just your next ARPG, but could be set in another universe? Has this been discussed already? I mean, nothing's set in stone because, again, we haven't entered pre-production. I imagine, most likely, is that Grim Dawn 2 will be a sequel to Grim Dawn, continuing the story, probably with some maybe, time gap between what happens at the end of the current game and then where the next game picks up. But again, this is all up in the air. Nothing's really set in stone.
I wish there
RTS
was
is
a roguelike dungeon released already for Fangs of Asterkarn, but unfortunately I have to run Steps of Torment here instead. Because the two things that I still haven't gotten to spawn were the roguelike spoils as well as the Resplendent Troves, so yeah, hopefully...
Well, hopefully you'll get some of those in here, because both can... Well, I mean, the roguelike loot will definitely drop in here. The spoils are... Or troves, I mean, are random, so maybe not.
Yeah, true.
But I imagine you'll get at least one of the spoils.
Yeah.
Got one more question. GD Engine has the possibility to realize low life builds like on other ARPGs. Is it possible to make auras reserve health instead of mana? That's not a mechanic that's in Grim Dawn in terms of reserving health. It's something that we could, in theory, add, but it's not something we planned at this point. Is Hagron's storyline finally getting addressed? Unfortunately, no. If you're curious about where things go in terms of the ethereals, that would have to be a sequel.
Oh yeah, your RTS is gonna... I mean, from the interview that I was actually watching yesterday on stream as well with Madeira, with Arthur Bruno, the RTS is gonna take place a couple hundred years before the Grim Dawn, I think he said. So
that's right.
I assume, for example, the Aryan Empire is not gonna have the typical more like Victorian style tech, but maybe a bit more like medieval tech? Question mark?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be more likely in terms of technology advancements. Yeah, units are not fully locked in yet, so I'm not going to be like for sure there's not going to be this kind of technology. But yeah, like we are talking about centuries of the advancement being rewinded, if you will.
Yeah. And then, well, connected to that, there was a question in chat: what like technology time period can we expect of Grim Dawn 2? Is it gonna stay in the same like setting or more modern?
So kind of leading from the previous answer I made about how it would probably be a sequel and probably be a bit of a time skip, I don't imagine it would be more than like a few years. So I don't think you'd see like a huge change technologically. There might be some, different items that you'll uncover, like item types that we haven't done before. Like, I mean, it's all up in the air because it's a sequel. Because like you'll be going to new places, you'll be encountering new people, and so we'll probably have some fun with new stuff that we haven't done yet.
Another Moosey. Oh well. And I got frozen instantly.
A wreck. Do I think Fangs of Asterkarn will get a discount on Steam Winter Sale? I mean, that's far enough away from the release that probably, but I'm not really going to be announcing discounts in advance, especially when it hasn't even shipped yet. What can we expect regarding how common and accessible affix transmutation is? I think that question came up earlier, and it's like I said, it should be very accessible. In terms of your results will vary. There's no guarantee that you'll get the result you want, but you should have pretty easy access to actually re-rolling items a few times at least before it gets prohibitively expensive. But you're never gonna brick an item. Like, it's never gonna get to a point where like, okay, I can't re-roll this anymore. You'll always be able to re-roll an item as many times as you want. It just gets expensive.
Is this build hardcore viable? Well, not for a fully juiced Ascension Altar, that seems. At least not against Moosey luck. Like Moosey. What was my freeze rest? 74%. I mean, yeah.
Greetings, traveler.
Does the altar reset when you
in
die? No, it does not.
No, the altar does not reset when you die.
But it does reset
I
when
use
you
my own
exit to the
instance.
main menu. And since I died
It
in the
does
roguelike
reset when you
dungeon,
exit the menu.
and if I run the same dungeon again, then I would have to like...
Yeah, so that would require you to juice the altar again. But you could run a different roguelike dungeon and retain
That's
those
true.
modifiers. I use my own influence over the game to create a set that appeals to me. Blasphemous. Yeah, it only took me 10 years. More. I actually literally resisted making items that appeal to that playstyle because I was like, oh, I shouldn't be biased and make stuff specifically for myself. And then, you know, it's been years, and that playstyle was almost like vacant because of that like mindset. That I'm like, okay, actually, I think I might have to make items for it just because it's not supported, like where everything else almost is. So
Since there's
yeah,
a couple of people.
I made my step.
Sorry. Since there's a couple of people
No?
asking about WASD, I mean, I could just show it really quick, right? If you go
That's
to
true.
the key bindings, movement type down here, you can change it to keyboard or keyboard only. Keyboard only will not make you able to aim with your mouse. Keyboard will. And I guess keyboard only, you could technically like actually play the game without a mouse completely, right? You could just play with the keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard only you could play without a mouse,
Yeah,
and keyboard
exactly.
plus
And then-
mouse is kind of a combination of the two.
Yeah.
And that's coming in version 1.3. You don't have to pick up Fangs of Asterkarn to try out WSD.
Yeah, so this is going to be, I mean, for this character, it's maybe not going to have that many advantages, but if you're playing a ranged character and you want to fight, then that's going to be very nice with WSD. Like,
Yeah.
stutter stepping is a lot easier with WSD, obviously.
For sure. But again, you can't run and gun in this mode. It's not something we've enabled.
Yeah.
That would require rebalancing the game around it. Does the classic HUD still get all the scaling improvements in 1.3? Yep. So all the UI improvements, whether you're using the classic health bars or you're using the orbs, they both scale with the new tech.
Yeah. This reminds me, I should probably like show off the orbs a little bit as well. So let's run a
Yeah.
bit with the orbs.
Yeah, people say that we just caved and be like, oh, you're just doing what Diablo's doing and what Path of Exile is doing. But like, honestly, our art director, who's been on the game since the forever times, he always wanted to do health orbs, and since we're doing a UI overhaul, we're like, you know what, if you want health orbs, let's do it, man. We should make it an option instead of like the mandatory UI, but like, let's do it. Let's get
Yeah.
you those health orbs. He likes them better. He thinks it's more readable for him, and he really wanted to do it. And you know, a guy that's worked as hard as he has on the game for all this time, I think he earned it.
Yeah, I think you can approach it in a similar way as you can approach WASD. And you don't have to like it yourself, but having more accessibility options or like more style options,
Yeah.
catering to different like subjective likings is a good thing.
Yeah, just more options is good for everybody.
One thing that people keep bringing up almost every time I play with the orbs though is that the constitution layer on the orbs might be... Is it stronger than in the bar UI? Maybe it's
Oh, like
not,
you think it's too
but
bright?
yeah, I guess the piss overlay in quotation marks, as people call it sometimes, is
overlay.
more prominent with the orbs than with the bars for some reason.
Okay, I'll make a mental note to mention that to our artist. This overlay, that's a good one.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Please make a
piss is stored in
transmog
the
or a set
orbs.
that would resemble Gut style. No comment. Can you turn the werewolf into a were-rat? You cannot. A were-beaver? That would be ridiculous. Being able to turn into a beaver person?
That would be truly ridiculous. Like, who would do that?
Yeah, like it would take some crazy person to come up with something like that. Mana is stored in one orb, and piss is stored in the other orb, yeah. Should be health cranes.
Alright, I'm doing my best to get the Resplendent Tropes and the Roguelike Spoils to be shown, and then after that, I'm not sure how much more time you have, or like many more questions you would like to answer. Or
It
if you
seems
want
like
me
the
to show
chat
some
is
other
getting
stuff.
tired, so maybe a few more minutes, and I should probably go and finish this expansion, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, your time is pretty expensive right now.
Yeah, I suppose so. with shapeshift mechanic in the game, surely we'll get some crazy modding going on. Oh yeah, like I mean, like I've mentioned, like animations are kind of the big like cost of doing lure forms, but modders can go crazy with that stuff, and like you can do all sorts of word transformations. Like, I mean, the guys that are working on, you know, the Diablo mod, there's so many mechanics in Fangs of Asterkarn that literally let you remake Diablo 2 skills that I think they're gonna have some fun with that. Like Frozen Orb, you can make Frozen Orb in Grim Dawn now.
Oh yeah, sure, there's a new skill template for that, I think. Yeah. It's very nice.
How Onslaught buff works is summon entities. The summon will be buffed by entire duration. Onslaught does not work with summons. You cannot like make Onslaught make your pet stronger. It does work with player scaling stuff. So like if you throw down like Rune of Hagarad while you have Onslaught up, that will empower the rune. Is Forgotten Gods expansion completely separate to FOA? I mean, in terms of where it takes place, for sure. Fangs of Asterkarn takes place way up in the northwest, and Forgotten Gods takes place way in the east off the map. Damage conversion question: will it be 100% on skills like DE or still partial? So I think you're talking about how parts of certain skills are like secondary effects. So mechanically that hasn't changed. Like you still need global conversion for those to work. So like you know, like for Eye of Reckoning, for example, the Soulfire. Wow, you almost got wrecked again.
Yeah, I was
For Soulfire, like you still need
the
global
wave of
conversion.
Moosey. That's a classic mistake.
Will Fangs of Asterkarn have more support for less conventional hybrid damage types builds like Chaos plus Bleed or Double Triple Elemental? I mean, I hope so. There's a lot of new items, a lot of damage combinations that got made. I can't be like promise you to be like, oh, for sure that's gonna be viable now, because I haven't tried every crazy combination that there is. But there's a lot more gear that supports, you know, more damage types. There's a lot of more damage combination gear that got added. So I'm sure something new will come about. There's a set that's specifically dedicated to taking that hybrid Winter King playstyle and doing like pets plus player damage that hopefully, you know, will have some endgame viability. We'll see what people come up with for that. Your question in terms of like story continuity. Fangs of Asterkarn touches into other aspects of the lore than Forgotten Gods. Forgotten Gods was very focused on the celestial stuff and the witch gods, the Eldritch realm. Whereas Fangs of Asterkarn touches on other aspects of like the grand Grim Dawn lore, and I'm not going to touch into where things go. I think you can guess that there's some Chthonians involved.
Oh, wait. You're streaming with the Great Entertainment channel, obviously, but
Oh, did someone give me a sub?
but are you watching with your Zantai account or your
No,
Great
I'm
Entertainment
logged in
account?
on the crate stream.
Okay. No,
so
then it should have been the right
I
channel.
think, like
Oh,
you
well.
said, maybe it just required reloading or something, and since I was afraid to
Yeah,
refresh it.
right. Okay.
Will there be any improvements to text readability and notes and mastery window? I mean, I hope that kind of goes into UI scaling. Any consideration for future presentation of lore notes being more visually oriented, like how, example, the Pathfinder games do it with storybook events? I mean, that would be really cool, but the team our size just does not have the capacity to pump out stuff like that. I mean, I love that sort of style where like there's like Wrath of the Righteous did that, and Rogue Trader did that. I really love the ones in Rogue Trader. But yeah, like doing that for us is just out of scope. We just don't have enough artists to like do all the things that we need to do, and then also do something that really cool but not critical to gameplay. It's like a nice polished touch, you know.
That's locked.
Is there any plans to make lore notes account-wide too? You enjoy reading them, but sometimes the drop rates of random ones are quite annoying, as I have to them on some accounts but not others. So that's kind of a double-edged sword, because lore notes do actually give you XP, and there's an upside to finding them on alts. One of the popular strategies is to rotate the camera in the beginning of Devil's Crossing, so you can pick up that one lore note, like right in the top of the prison, where you could reach it just right, get like an XP boost right out the gate. So I don't know if I would get rid of things like that. I want to say
Feels
big
like
thank you to all of you. Amazing game. It's good to know there's still old school developers out there who know how to make great games, because there are fewer and fewer of them nowadays. Well, I appreciate that. I definitely do feel like we kind of cater to more old school mindsets when it comes to the games we work on. We like the games we make. We play the games we make, and so when we work on them, we're like, well, that's what I want to play, and that comes through in the games. Which, does mean that some of the decisions we make might make our games a little more niche than the mainstream stuff, but we're okay with that. Like, we are making a game for an audience that is out there, but it might not be the mainstream audience that's gonna, sell 50 million copies. But because of that, we're also, making games on a smaller scope, smaller scale, and so it's kind of priced in, if you will. Like, we don't need to sell 50 million copies to break even. Any QL updates for crafting greens lists, etc. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, that is something that I really love to do. If we end up doing any more quality of life stuff post-release, that would be pretty high up on my list to touch up, but we'll see. We do eventually need to start moving people to the other projects and, Grim Dawn 2 development, so I don't know how much more programming time we're going to have on Grim Dawn after sort of like the content updates that we're working on, so we'll see. Right, are you running from a fight?
Moosey spawned like for the 4th consecutive time. I was hoping for the other nemesis to spawn.
Yeah,
but
where's the other nemesis when you need him, right?
Yeah. But after fighting Moosey 3 times and 1 time out of those dying to him, I was like, nah, let me please find those roguelike spoils instead. And maybe the other nemesis as well. That would be more interesting too.
Yeah. Well, Fangs of Asterkarn. If Fangs of Asterkarn sells 50 million copies, will I eat a boot? If Fangs of Asterkarn sells 50 million copies, I will lose my mind.
Spoils today, guys.
He's dead. We're just not seeing those spoils today, guys. We're spoiled.
You'll have to wait until July 23rd for that.
Yeah, you'll have to wait till July 23rd to see what those Ascendant spoils look like. If Fangs of Asterkarn sells 50 million copies, I will lose my fucking mind. I will be speechless. I cannot even imagine that happening. Thank you for coming on and being the bridge for this amazing title we all love. See your name on the forums since I started in 2015. It's nice to see the face in the year of our Lord Korvac 2026. Much love and best of luck moving forward. Thank you. I'm happy to be on here with Rekt and actually focusing on the questions instead of embarrassing myself on stream like he is for me.
Yeah, I'm happily taking over that part.
But I do hope I'll have more time in the future to actually do streams again. I've enjoyed, interacting with you guys in this way in the past. I've been, unfortunately, very busy in the last few years. But hopefully, as things kind of calm down a little bit here at Crate, I'll have more time for things like that. And maybe do like a Furthest Frontier stream again, maybe do more Grim Dawn stuff. Maybe some future announcements, we'll see. Have you already decided for the game engine for Grim Dawn 2? Yes, we have. It's going to be our proprietary engine that we've been developing internally. Will I dance naked in the rain for 10 million copies? No, because I don't want to get arrested. Yeah, engine is not going to be UE5 for Grim Dawn 2, guys. We have our own engine that we're very happy to use for future projects. Will offensive and defensive ability move on to Grim Dawn 2? I think that's likely. I think that's a system that people are familiar with and enjoy in Grim Dawn 2. I mean, mathematically, I'm not sure the formula will be exactly the same, like, how it will work, but I think fundamentally I could see bringing over that system again.
I think it's also more interesting than having a system or like an RPG where endgame you're just chasing the 100% crit chance, and that's like something you want to
I feel like just
achieve
getting
in
that
all
crit chance
builds.
that crazy high is just not
What's the point
that
of
rewarding.
crit then? No.
Eventually, it's not crit chance anymore. It's chance to not crit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and that's not satisfying, I would say. But yeah, I do like that aspect of the defensive ability system that I can definitely see carrying over.
Yeah.
did I confirm new synergies for Defiler? Please spoil a bit. There's definitely new gear for Defiler. Like, we definitely took a look at some of the mastery combinations that I feel like not necessarily were underserved, but struggled in endgame. Defiler, Apostate are two that definitely come to mind. And that's something that was in the front of my mind when I was like coming up with new items, to kind of fill the gap for those and have more options for that. Like, and even some of the changes we made to resistance reduction bonuses that were on masteries, like Necromancer got you know, new damage type, new reduction to new damage type that didn't have before, and that kind of helps expand that support between, say, Inquisitor and Necromancer, for example.
Yeah, like a cold
Battle Mage might be great
apostate
again.
seems much more likely now. Like
Yes,
to actually
Full
work.
Apostate is one that definitely comes to mind.
Yeah.
Will Battle Mage finally be great again in the X-Pack? It was never great. I don't know, it has some good builds. It's just very, it's just a very tanky play style. Like, if you're into, like, you know, pushing timers, it might not be there for you, but it's a very tanky one, very safe. And that's kind of always been its thing.
Yeah, that's true. Like, as long as we have the current resistance reduction system and Soldier and Arcanist not having any of those, like, -%
Yeah.
side resistance reductions, that class combination is just never gonna, like, break any, like, speed records when it comes to
Right.
clearing content.
That's just the fundamental
It's still a
equation
good
there.
class. It's
And that's
honestly,
okay.
like, in hardcore as well, it's kind of decent, but yeah, if you're running like, to just chase timers, it's not gonna be...
Yeah, and I think
choice.
that's okay. I think with 45 mastery combinations, it's good to have them fill different niches. You know, not everything is going to be a glass cannon speed clearing through everything.
Yeah.
When do you think Grim Dawn 2 will come out so I can get ready 5 years after that? So, as we kind of joked, not in this decade, and that's really not a joke, it's for sure. There's not, Grim Dawn 2 is not happening in this decade. We're talking at least 5 years, honestly. What happens when you use WSD with melee, click and hold mouse to attack an enemy, or do we attack standing in place, or we move to enemies first? So we did add an option that lets you decide how you want that to behave. By default, it does keep you in place, which is what controller does, but we did add a way if you're playing with mouse and keyboard controls, then by clicking the mouse, your character will actually move up to the target with that one setting toggled on. Speaking of, you always had a love-hate relationship with resistance reduction in Grim Dawn. Will the system be identical in Grim Dawn 2, or will you be exploring new ideas around it? I would say we'll be exploring new ways to do that. I think there's a place for enemy resistances where some enemies are just tougher to kill for certain damage types. I think thematically it fits, and mechanically it just kind of creates like different tension for different builds. Like, cold builds take a longer time to kill Kubakabra, and I think that's, you know, whenever you run into that, you know, a nemesis on a cold build, you're like, ah, great. But on another build, you might just like wreck him and not even think about it. And I think that creates interesting experiences that vary from build to build, and that's worth replicating. But in order to have those sort of dynamics, some form of resistance reduction might be necessary to kind of, you know, make it so it's still playable. So you're not struggling against every enemy that's resistant to your damage type. But how we handle it, how we balance it, I think that's definitely a conversation that's going to be happening for Grim Dawn 2. Are you going to shoot that elk?
I was gonna use this elk as a point of conversation. Since you have added like wildlife in the Fangs of Asterkarn, are we gonna see maybe some wildlife coming to base game regions as well, or like the other like older expansion regions as well?
Probably not at this point. We'd have to come up with some more, you know, ambient wildlife, which would be a ton of new models, and then all the animations for those, and to like really, and then, you know, we'd have to go through all those old levels to populate them. So while it was a really nice touch for this expansion, and we're glad we did it because it like adds more life to the world, I don't know if we're really going to go back and like populate everything retroactively. That's a lot. Like, that's, you know, another 66% of the world to go through.
Min-maxers and speedrunners would rephrase it as, we have more Shadow Strike targets now.
Oh, so that was your motivation. You're not in it for the elks. You're in it to Shadow Strike between them.
Yeah, exactly.
Will the RTS have campaign skirmish multiplayer with okayish balance? What's the plan? Well, I certainly hope it'll have okayish balance, but yeah, that would be the game modes we'll be focused on for the RTS, like you know, a sizable campaign with some decent replayability, I hope, a skirmish mode for versus AI and against players, and then yeah, like actually close multiplayer with ranked play, I think is also very much on the table. Something that we're also kind of floating around is having like a mode where people can contribute to like a battle map based on like which faction you're playing and winning and losing as, to, you know, kind of do a tug of war between the 3 factions that are going to be in the game, and, you know, maybe have like a seasonal effect that happens, like maybe depending on which faction wins, there's some sort of prize for everybody, and then it resets for the next season, and we'll see which faction wins that season. That's something we've been, you know, tossing around in our head, and that'd be pretty fun to do. One more thing, can we have 2 slots for consumables instead of only 1? So I think, are you talking about like how consumables stack up? So there's different types of consumables now, some that are, you know, permanent duration and some that are short duration. And that was done for balance reasons, and we don't plan to change that. You do have your potion customization in Fangs of Asterkarn now that gives you more ways to customize your potion and get different buffs and debuffs and you know, like effects on there. So I think that's plenty of, you know, different consumable effects to have going all at once. Can someone confirm the graphics are more polished, or am I crazy? You are not crazy. Like, we did actually, you know, increase the fidelity of many of the items and environment art for this expansion. What about giving 200 weapons 2 component slots? That's not gonna happen at this point. We counterbalance 200s with their constellation and with their base stats, so you do not need 2 components. It'd be nice mechanically, but that's just, the game's not built for it at this point.
Yeah,
And it wasn't really worth digging into.
Too much unnecessary like rebalancing after that anyway at this point.
Yeah, it'd be like a ton of rebalancing at this point, and like just tech-wise, like the game's not built for having multiple things like attaching like that are the same type.
Alright, maybe this character is strong enough for Musi.
Can you show some skill modifiers on ascendant items? So I think Rekt showed like a couple earlier, but we'll save most of them for you guys to find on your own. There's something like 900 modifiers that are in the ascendant system, so there's a lot to discover. How the heck, as a developer, do you even balance a game with this many skills and abilities? Genuinely curious, it seems impossible. I joke that I spin the balance wheel, and where it lands, like either buff or nerf. It's a couple of things. One is that I'm actually paying attention to the communities, like what's being said. Not necessarily what you guys think needs to change, but what you guys are complaining about and what you think is working well. And that kind of serves as, you know, a baseline for like what we look at next. So like if there's a lot of like feedback around this particular skill, then like that actually pivots our attention to try to make that better. And besides, oh, there's the dread again. And besides that, I am a spreadsheet master. I have so many different spreadsheets that I've created over the years that have all the items organized in various ways and all the data in one big place that helps me kind of keep a global look at things and, you know, quickly cross-reference stuff. So hopefully there isn't too much, you know, overlap between different items in the same slot, or like repeats of like modifiers and stuff. I mean, we're not perfect. There are sometimes things that like, oh, this basically does the same thing. Like, yeah, that happens. But for the most part, like that's kind of what allows us to keep this game balanced with so few people.
Yeah, if you didn't mention it yourself, I would have also said, I think even with Dira, like yesterday, when I was watching the interview, mentioned it as well, that he has very good people in his team for all the spreadsheets, and yeah, I was instantly thinking of you, because I mean, you are the spreadsheet master from my knowledge.
He was probably referring to me for that one.
Yeah.
He hates spreadsheets. I love them. They are.
Yeah.
If honestly, if I didn't maintain the spreadsheets for Grim Dawn the way I did all these years, it would have been almost impossible to balance this game on this scope with so few people.
Oh my god.
It's like, I mean, we're talking about, ooh.
Well, to be fair,
we're talking about a game on a scale like, you know,
but,
AAA companies are making with hundreds of people that we're balancing with a team of 10. And most of them aren't designers. Is there any way to wield a two-hand and a shield in the expansion? There is not, and there isn't going to be. For me, two-handers means two hands, and I will die on that hill.
Okay, chat, I'm
Did
not
we do
like
that with all
trying
the
to...
expansions?
I'm not trying to bring up any excuses here, but it is pretty hot, unfortunately, for me right now.
Oh, that's true, because you're still in that heat wave, huh? That's about to happen here. Like, we're gonna hit 100 degrees on Thursday.
This is like a...
Stupid. Oh my god.
I'm like sitting here at
Yeah.
103 or 4, whatever Fahrenheit this is, like indoors.
That is rough,
basically.
dude.
Something like that.
I would have a hard time focusing, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, I was hoping it's gonna rain today, but it actually didn't properly, so... oh well.
Did we do that with all the expansions with the graphics? Yep. Every expansion kind of was a step up in terms of fidelity, in terms of like us pushing what the engine could do. So yeah, you like looking back on the base game Grim Dawn versus Ashes of Malmeth versus Forgotten Gods versus Fangs of Asterkarn now, you can see that things look more detailed. And that does make the base game feel a little old by comparison, unfortunately. But going back and redoing all that stuff now would be huge.
I think the audio is like... I mean, I'm not sure if it's this patch or something, but I currently have Kernhold music walking around Broken Hills.
What?
And yeah, I don't know why. I feel like it's been just like, so you know, it's like this.
Is it? I wonder if it's because of the dread. Okay, I'll have to try that after this stream.
Maybe, but I feel like it didn't. This didn't happen like in previous patches. It's something that only happened like in this very recent version of the playtest for some reason. Okay, at least it's stopped
Well,
now in Steps of
see if we-
Torment, so I think
Well,
Steps
that's
of Torment
probably
did
changed
manage to
zones.
override it at least. But to be fair, I
We'll
mean,
see if we can repro that after the stream.
that's kind of like maybe the old Titan Quest legacy. Like Titan Quest had like so many like environmental like music bugs, so audio bugs as well. Maybe there's still some
Wouldn't be
spaghetti
surprised if something
sticking
is
around
still
in
in
Grim
there.
Dawn, yeah.
Like we fixed TQ bugs as recently as last month. There's bugs that we like looked at and just like, yeah, that's TQ code. So you can just imagine that stuff's still in the original TQ that, you know, is on Steam. Like, I doubt they fixed those things.
Yeah.
Grim Dawn remastered in 20 years. I'm not planning 20 years ahead, but maybe. Are we getting a pre-release patch soon? So 1.3 will release at the same time, or maybe a couple days before Fangs of Asterkarn. The point is that that is the pre-patch. That is the patch that adds all the stuff that the expansion is going to need tech-wise. So they're kind of lined up.
How can we help make people aware of the Fangs of Asterkarn release? Somebody asking on YouTube.
How can you help make people aware? Mention it to your friends. Talk about it on Reddit. Comment on YouTube videos. Just bump that stuff.
Yep.
So other people will see. The more things kind of get attention, the more things show up in the searches, the more likely other people will see them. So like when you comment on like articles, when you comment on Reddit threads, like that kind of bumps it in the algorithm. And so literally by talking about the game, by sharing it with other people, you are getting the game more attention. And that helps us. What are the biggest limitations of this engine besides the graphical aspects? A lot of the just damage calculations just don't work the way I would want them to. Like, people have mentioned physical damage is like calculates against armor multiple times, which is insane to me. But that's how it works. That's how it worked in TQ. And that's what we're stuck with. Do I like it? No. Do I have to live with it and we have to bounce the game around it? Yeah. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to give it till 4 o'clock here, which is in 6 minutes. So if you have any last questions to drop on me, do it now. And after that, I'm going to get back to finishing this beast. Is there any plans to add Ether Dot and Chaos Dot? There's not. That is one of the unique aspects of those damage types. That was a deliberate decision. It's not like we couldn't add those dots. We just actually chose not to. Will bleed damage be convertible in Grim Dawn 2? Is it just its own thing? I can't honestly speak about what damage types will be like in Grim Dawn 2. I do think we will like kind of revisit how they're done. For example, that's actually another aspect of Titan Quest that I don't think is really like great for itemization, is just having separate scaling for dots and like main damage, flat damage. Like we have to have 2 stats for every damage type on items, which just bloats the tooltips. It doesn't do anyone any good. Like, would it make sense to have some items that specifically bump just dots? Probably. Does it have to be every item in the game that has to list both fire and burn damage on it? No, that'd be great not to have. So I think we would consolidate damage types instead of even just that for a sequel. Can we marry on a stereo or Korean in the new patch? Afraid not. That will be the Paramore update, coming on April 1st.
But it's gonna be a kill, fuck, or marry kind of question.
Glad they didn't ask me.
Oh my god.
Don't do that! What is left to do to finish the expansion? At this point, we are very much polishing. We are just running through stuff, like just making small adjustments, cleaning up any issues we find. The content is finished. The final boss has actually just been recently playtested by the internal testing group, and seems to be pretty well received. So that's where we are at. We are very much like polish, polish, polish.
Certainly gonna be a
Any
truly
little thing we
cinematic
can-
experience.
I'm glad you think so. I gotta please read walls of text on items. Do we do closed play tests with random players or mostly streamers? Our closed testing group is an invitation-only group that we invite into from our community. So that's something I've said before, like to people, like if you are a positive contribution in our community, you don't have to be like super experienced, like end game player. You don't have to be casual. You can play pets. You can play whatever damage types you like. We're looking for people that are a positive contribution, that are eager to help make the game better, and those are the kind of people we invite to our testing group.
Yeah, you always want to have a proper mix of playtesters
Yeah,
that
like
also kind of represent the actual player base.
Exactly. Like we don't invite just all the top players in the community. Like if we did that, the game would be balanced around all the toughest, best players in the community, and everyone that struggles with the game for whatever reason that might be would have a bad time. So we are actually looking for people that do play the game casually, that maybe you do just want to play it on normal and have a good time. Like if that's your version of fun playing Grim Dawn, that's why normal difficulty is there, and we want to balance the game around that. And if all we heard about was from all the like hardcore players like Reg, like well, the game would be a very different game.
Yeah. More like washed up hardcore player nowadays, it feels like sometimes. At least if you look at this stream.
You can just blame the heat.
Yeah, I'll definitely blame the heat. And to be fair, I've only died on Ascendant mode when I fully juiced the altar. I did not die
That's true.
without
That is
fully
true.
juicing it. So there's also that caveat at least.
Can we make the Were Raven wings bigger? You have a bit of a wing fetish, huh? And I think they're pretty big already. Could transmog be applied on slot rather than particular gear? I do hear people's feedback about that. I think this kind of goes both ways. Like there's upsides to having it apply to gear instead of gear slot, and there's upsides for having it apply to gear slot specifically. My main reason why we didn't do it with gear slot was that we actually did want people to see all the gear they're picking up. Because a lot of times what happens, like in games like World of Warcraft and stuff, where you do have a system that applies to gear slot, is that unless you like actually go and take a look at what you just found, you might not even have any idea that you found like a cool new item look, because you didn't even see it, because it's already like overwritten by your transmog. How many of the Ascendant mods changed the mechanics of the skill? Like Ether Array one, we teased out of the 900 we added. So they vary in terms of how much they impact it, especially for the common items that don't have modifiers already. Like the modifiers are more powerful. so that might affect
Oh, yeah.
how you decide to use them. But for legendaries and monster infrequents, like those are much smaller bonuses because they're not supposed to just like completely change your playstyle. Because if you get like a modifier that doesn't apply to your build and it like changes your damage type, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like I can't use this skill anymore until I re-roll this item, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, maybe I have some like couple minutes to show off maybe like 1 or 2 yellow items that are ascended as well, or green items. Like wait, how did you set it up now? Like, is it only magic items, like common base, and then like magic prefix,
common base
magic
items
suffix?
will roll more powerful affixes.
Okay. Streamer RNG just strikes again.
Wow.
Oh, Rend and Alchemist Ring.
Are you kidding? There's obviously playing a streamer build, guys. This is not realistic drop rates. Don't get your hopes up.
I mean, maybe Ascended difficulty helped a little bit, but I actually for these monster specific drops, I'm not so sure if it did.
All right, it is 4 o'clock and my time with you is up. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed me talking at you for 3 hours. I do hope you guys are pumped for this expansion. We are absolutely pumped for you guys to play it in just a few weeks. So yeah, be sure to wishlist the game. Be sure to talk about the game with your friends. Get people to, remember, hey, Grim Dawn's here and it's about to get a ton of new content. So if I think Rect's gonna keep streaming for a bit longer, I assume.
Yeah, like a little bit, maybe like another hour or so.
Okay, so keep hanging out with Rect. We'll see you guys on the forums, and we'll see you guys at release. So again, thank you for your support. See you online.
Thank you so much, Zantai, for being here. Thanks so much for your time, and good luck with finishing this awesome expansion that we're all looking forward to. All right.
Thank you. All right, take care, guys. See ya.
All right. Yeah.